Hello, hello, and good evening, everybody. We are here with the next fight in the Canadian Intercollegiate Expedition. I am Dragon here with my co-caster Ninjix. How you doing, my friend?
How's it going? It's good to be back. The dynamic duo showing on different screen. If you see our faces from another side, we're here. We're making it. We're going to be casting the third place match against UFT and Calgary Esports. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a try and triumph. It's a third place. We know how third place matches. Sometimes they get a little lackluster. Sometimes the energy low, but I don't think these teams are gonna have any low of energy at all. I feel like it's gonna be an action-packed type of match.
I definitely agree because, as you stated perfectly well, like third place matches, you got to bring everything to the table, even if it's just for the bronze medal.
Exactly.
You know what's at stake. You know what it means, win or lose. So both teams, both Calgary and Toronto, need to bring everything to the table.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, there's still prize, even if it's all for everything for the good name of charity. We love these streams. We love CIE and what they do here. But of course, the players are here to fight. They're here to fight for the place. They're here to fight for the title. They're here to fight why they are a good team. And these teams have made it to the top four. They are why we love to see them in every single type of region or other type of seeds that we see them in NACC, ECAC, wherever they play. You know, we've always seen them. So it's really, really excellent to see these Canadian teams really rise up to the occasion and understand that, like, their skills are here to pay said bills.
Exactly. In your personal opinion, how do you think the plays are going to go tonight? Do you think they're going to stick to a meta, or are we going to see some new combat on the table?
To be fair, well, during the top 16, we were seeing a lot of Hazard. We were seeing a lot of some Winston, especially there was a match with St. Clair. I think they were pulling up some Winston there, but I cannot say that I feel like it's just going to be a dive meta once again. The dive is really strong. It's really opportune. We love some of the statistics that we've been seeing as of late of these teams, and right now I feel like it's just going to be Hazard Central. We may see some ball. I know we saw some ball players in the other matches. It's going to be very interesting to see if we finally have this. I know you like that, Dragon. You're excited.
I
You
love the
ball
murder
players.
hamster.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
We love the monitored hamster. It's so fun to see. But at the same time, I gotta stay true. Next to my buddy Winton over here. Oh, wrong way. Right here. You know, I want to see some Winton action. I want to see some Winton action too. Haven't seen him in a while. His look, there's a key thing that a lot of new players do forget, that his electricity does eliminate the resistance of armor. That is very key with dive metas. You see the Brigada covering the Ana. You see the Brigada covering a lot of the Widows that we were seeing in a lot of different team comps as of late. And especially with these perks, like it's going to be very interesting to see how they can actually expand on their play style. And if they can incorporate that, I feel like it go well. 100%.
I think so too, especially if you're able to use those abilities to your advantage, where you can take out armor resistance. And honestly, as I've said in cast in the past, suppression and overwhelming firepower can come into plays. And if you can pull those off, you can take a kill zone and turn it around and turn it into a defensive block that is just impenetrable.
We've seen a lot of NACC matches of that exact happening, where they use that suppression, they cover the flank, the support lines are on key with every single detail that they need to go. But it's gonna be interesting. But we're gonna throw it to see some of the players on the teams. We're gonna see all these beautiful names coming up to you live to see what we got. First on Calgary, we got Sir Sanic on DPS along with Destroyer, Pudge on the tank. Gonna be protected as much as he can. Wild Pants and Forek on that support line. A key players in this match. We're gonna take a look at the other team as well. UFT, Toronto Mad People, Solus, Lowell on that DPS line. Shumashigi, we love this ball player. We've seen him before. We're gonna have to hope to see him again. The dive meta is true. Computer row, orange peel, support line. You gotta love it. And like I was saying before, that Brigida, you can expect it. You're gonna expect it. I mean, I don't know about you, Dragon. I'm gonna expect it.
I'm gonna expect, coming out of UFT, like, this is a really good lineup, especially if they play these characters. I'd be very curious on Calgary's side how good that Widowmaker can be, because I'm saying the Widowmaker may be a very vanilla character, being like original right from the beginning. That sniper rifle in the right hands can be the difference in a fight. I am telling you right now, you get a good angle and a good shot, it's a problem.
It's gonna be interesting, and to be fair, we even have like this is third place. This is third place. We have grand finals after. It's just gonna be action on action on action. I mean, we're gonna have to see some of the best plays here in the competition, right? Aren't we?
Oh yeah, no, you are going, like I said, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. You need to bring everything to the table, even for the third place matchup. Everything is gonna come down to it. Even the first map being Basan.
Yeah, taking a look at the map pool.
That's a good urban map. So some heavy urban combat
for these maps too. For control at score, we got push, got hybrid and option there, and then we have the flashpoint at the end. Usually is a little bit different, but in this tournament, it's that lineup, and I'm sure you've seen it before. But as you said, Busan, I give me some comments. Why do we think this could be a difference maker?
I think it can be a difference maker because, like I said, urban combat, you have some decent areas which can be good for kill boxes. You have flanking opportunities, especially if you get a DPS like the Tracer. If no one's paying attention to a character like Tracer and get them into the back line, it can be a problem for whoever's on the receiving end of that flanking maneuver. And then if you get a Widowmaker up on a high ground position, maybe on one of the balconies, maybe an overlooking bridge, and get just easy sniper superiority, that can also be a problem. But also on the other side of things, you get a tank push and you just slowly creep up the front line, it can seriously bog down any form of offensive that a team can try and bring to the table. It can just bog you down to a stalemate.
And you know what's going to be the difference maker about this map too? Bans. We got bans now. 2025, we got hero bans, and already we're gonna be seeing
Overwatch.
The first one gone and the second one gone. The two bans that we're gonna have in this map is gonna be D.Va and Ana. We were talking about before. We love Brigitte protecting Ana, but there's no Ana. What are they gonna do?
Well, with Ana off the table, that's a healer gun, so you kind of come down to, you know, Mercy, Kiriko. Like, there are some other healers on the support thing, but Ana can use their sniper rifle to heal from long range fairly easily. D.Va on the tank being removed as well. Yeah, you got Ball, Winston, Sigma, Zarya, as well as the Ariza, as well as Hazard. D.Va's mech can also bring a lot to the table, so that playstyle kind of being taken out, it's still early to be seen because it's only 2 bans. As more bans come into play, that can really determine how playstyles will go down. You'll need to adapt.
Yeah, we're gonna be getting into this soon. Players are loading up, revving their engines and getting ready. I don't know about you, Dragon, but I'm getting excited. We're gonna see some Calgary versus Toronto action, Alberta versus Ontario, heading into game already into that first point on that shrine. I know a lot of teams love to go on that back line. If you take a look there, we have the drum. They love to go inside that temple. They love to be able to take advantage of that cover. It's very, very crucial. As we go through here, we see that left side too, that left little shrine as well. We know a lot of snipers love to post up there. And we see right then and there, a person of Sir Sanic gonna be on that. Ooh, never mind. Sorry, I scared him. I was gonna say Cassidy, but I scared him. I scared him. My bad.
Yeah, the Cassidy going on to the Reaper. I think the Reaper is a really good play on the side from you, Calgary. The Malga for their tank, though. Malga versus Ball. That's gonna be a fun fight.
We got the ball
but
action.
already the engagements are going.
Let's
see.
Go.
Oh, wow.
Starting off, we got Ball rolling into the back line, trying to get some picks off that soldier and trying to deny that rail build. We don't like the rail build. It's going to be able to take care of the back line. And if you know Ball players, they're really aware. And what a pick from Destroyer coming onto the back line. Getting able to just absolutely focus down. That's going to be huge early game.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that Ball just coming in and taking out Destroyer right off the bat, and especially against a squishy player like Tracer. But this corner suppression, they are being pincered on both sides, and as the exchange of fire go out, it is leading more into UFT's side. That's 2 for 1 right now, and now that's 3 for 1, and UFT is on the offensive.
You gotta hand it to Shroomshi. He had the absolute goal in mind. Deny the rail gather, deny the DPS that can be on the back line. When you're playing ball, your back line is that much exposed. You have to be aware, you have to be able to key onto that case scenario, or else things like that happen. And I feel like they were able to really capitalize that without the soldier and provide in DPS. Ball's gonna try to go for the backline push again. Good deny from the Brigida. Tracer trying to do as much to support that. Got Tracer on Frasier on point. Trying to touch, at least get some capture off, but they're playing this dive game to a perfection to at least negate the pressure and the amount of position taken. Backline's going to be trying to be pinched here. Taken down. It's going to be the first one on the Kiriko. Computer didn't take him down by Farak on the Brigida. Has Pulse online. They're trying to look for something, but they're going to be dealing with a big 2 minigun. Rail and Overclock going to be going off for Solus first. Pulse takes down the backline. They're going to be able to respond to this quick, even with the demolitions going on. Malga is able to get one onto the case scenario. They can't find a point down, so the ball's just going to be on that Beyblade time on point to deny capture, but they have too much survivability for UFT.
But Calgary did manage to take a point with 72% for the side of UFT. Calgary needs to play a solid defense, even just to tie it. But that ball in the back line is just going to be a problem. And once the rest of UFT come in for the offensive, it's going to come down to Calgary's defensive maneuvers. The Tracer going on with the recall gets slammed and shredded. The ball on the back line, on the attack, denying any type of flank. The Malga goes out, tries to do something, but that ball is just being a problem. That Malga is just feeding bullets into the armor, but it's just not enough.
It's not enough at all, and the Reaper's trying to at least provide some resistance, but I don't think it's going to be key in this case scenario. There's no viability. They're able to get in and out super quick. Those shotguns are not going to do as much as they're wanting. He has Blossom online in case anything happens, but he's low. Does he able to get the Wraith in time, but it's going to be pinched one-on-one, and there's not going to be opportunity to be able to use it. That's a huge denial from LOL and the rest of UFT to be able to deny that usage. If they have their ult tracking going on point, they're going to be able to take away with this, but they have two ults online. Calgary's got that Brigida and Blossom online. Rally Blossom could be a detrimental. They only have an answer with the Pulse and Orbital, so they got to keep that Juno alive if they want to deny this, but the dive is too heavy. They don't have the resistance or the utility to be able to deny it. Pulse goes on to Forik. They're going to be able to get one compute, but the pull, did you hear that?
Oh my God.
Useless Blossom.
And they're contesting the ball, the only one on the drum being able to hold that point. It is overtime fuse going down, and that fuse is going, and that is the first objective secured, going to UFT.
Oh, sorry. I have excitement stuck in my throat from the amount of action that just happened in 2 minutes. Huh? Sorry, I blinked. I'm sorry, Dragon. I have to take a nap.
Yeah, no, we were so focused on just that engagement that I didn't even realize that the Murder Hamster was holding that point on their own with nothing, no defenses whatsoever, because the rest of the team was focused on denying the rest of Calgary's advance.
I'm not so sure about the Reaper play. The Reaper, yeah, it had a good mindset, but the Malga was not able to do any sort of his job providing that space because the space was being created so often from ball going everywhere that there wasn't an opportunity for the Reaper to capitalize on anything, for the Malga to capitalize on anything. So what's the solution? They're going to dive back. We got the Lucio, we got the Winston, and we got the Tracer online. They're going to be able to take up space here. They know that the Brigida was a key pick for them, but they have a Juno, they have a Kiriko. I don't know how this Winston's going to play into this team composition.
Well, currently this Winston is just electrifying everybody and is holding their own. Ghost even just punches them off the roof and down to the floor like they were a wet paper towel.
Oh, buddy. I think everybody knows about that wet paper towels. If you hit on that tip, it's really hard. Like, I hate it. I hate it. But,
ouch.
Talking more into the game.
Do they have
here.
any ibuprofen? They probably have a headache.
Probably. You know, it's very true. Very possible. Very possible. But talking about headaches, I think the headaches is going to be the POV of LOL here. Trying to get some DPS on the back line. He's going to be attacked from the back as well. But there's that poke damage going through. Soul's going to be able to pick up one as they able to get a nice hinder. Shumsi is able to get Destroyer down as well. That's just capitalization on the counter dive, which if you pay attention, he is doing exponentially well. They recognize that they go for the dive. We know dive is a big meta here, so he's countering that place. He's countering. He's always focusing on the Tracer, trying to make sure that there's no advantageous position for them. But the Orisa, I don't know about this dragon.
Yeah, no, the Orisa coming in, this could go either way. This could be the play that's needed, especially to bring the tank, but given that the Orisa is literally barely holding on and just getting healed now, the Tracer from UFT taking out the one from Calgary, a really good play denying that flank, and just the firefights are going once again in favor of UFT. The Tracer taking out the Lucio, and they're holding that point. There was an opportunity for an advancement for Calgary, but UFT was able to shut it down and lock it.
Yeah, it's quite insane to see any of these case scenarios paying off. They have their plans, they try to go with it. Sometimes they don't go as planned, and you got to adapt. And this is the case scenario. Larissa trying to make some damage while just Destroyers making some plays, making that space. Low's going to capitalize on the backline with no lack of focus, and Soul's going to be able to get that high ground and high noon. The duo doesn't go in his favor though. Does get taken down, but they will be able to sweep up with no backline on their side. And they continue hiding on strong.
25% to 75% and increasing for the side of UFT. That double kill from the Cassidy with the high noon was a really good shutdown on the defensive side there. And Ball just soaking up bullets and just having everyone focus on them is giving the rest of Toronto the opportunity to come in on the flanks and just start shredding. It's high noon for the side and only gets one. And now overall, the strike, a double kill coming in from the Ball. And Calgary managing to hold on just a little bit as they increase. It's at 40% to 95. UFT was holding on for a lot, and once again, Ball shredding, taking out that Cassidy, denying any assaults. And now Soldier 76 coming in on the side of UFT as well. That's a new one.
Through, but they're not gonna make it in time. You gotta give it to them. The adaptation was coming on true, but just UFT had that point locked down. You gotta give it up to them. Computer roll. Wow, let's see the play of the game here.
Yeah, let's see play of the game. A really good triple.
Oh, the Blossom. You heard the Blossom in the background. It was meant for the play, and they just had them all go trying to contain point, play in his position. It was a good try, but what a first match. I told you it was going to be action. I told you.
Oh yeah, no, it was going to be action-packed, and I think if UFT can keep the snowball going, they have a chance to really lock this down. What Calgary needs to do is find a way to honestly suppress the tank and watch the flank.
Yeah, it's going to be quite
because
insane.
If Toronto's going to run Ball and they're going to run the Murder Hamster throughout this, they need to find a way to basically either suppress the Murder Hamster or quickly get rid of the Murder Hamster before it can become a problem.
The Malgo, like even with the Malgo and Orisa, they don't have the tools capability to be able to keep that pressure off of just not even the backline itself. He was counter diving the Tracer, trying to find opportunity to destroy. Wasn't finding anything. He was just playing some sort of lane defense. There wasn't any exactly forward method going forward. He had a trouble actually figuring out targets for them to capitalize on. And even if they had the Winston, they didn't really have a single target to be able to fully capitalize on. They had some assistance, they had some instances, but they need to be able to fully lock in and maybe play a little bit of passive style. If you're not 100% on true and you can't commit to your plan, maybe just take that step back, go from a different angle, survey, scout around. They had the high ground for multiple times. It was going to be it had to be that commit, just that 100% commitment, because Tracer was left by himself with the ball to be capitalized. The Winston was also being taken down by the hindrance. They have to figure out some type of play to get that pressure off their back.
Exactly. And I think that second round could have been a prime chance for someone on either team to pull Widowmaker and actually try some decent like some sniper Overwatch. No pun intended.
Could have been. Yeah,
Um,
anything could happen.
but having a sniper having a sniper and with precision, because sometimes like my personal play style is high precision, like high precision plays. You'll land those headshots, you land those high damage strikes even if you don't kill them, that gives your team an opportunity just to mop them up for you.
Yeah.
Just get them down to a low enough health that someone can just slug them.
Oh, yeah. But for now, we're going to have the maps ready. Looking at what map 2 is going to be on that escort, Circuit Royale. If I don't know about you, but this is the map that Poke and Dive thrive in.
We've seen Circuit Royale in many a game and how it plays out. This can go one of two ways. You have a fight that basically they take every inch of ground and give no quarter, or it is just going to be a blitzkrieg slaughter.
Yeah, it's going to be it has to that snowball that you were talking about before. That momentum is going to carry into this map. Out of any maps, this one especially. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Calgary will be able to adapt to this case scenario, if they can actually provide that spacage, if they utilize. And I know Diva was banned on that last map, but we're going to be heading to the bans next to see if they will be available on the table, but we won't be knowing just yet. But hopefully,
I don't want to jinx it.
Genji though,
so
the first one.
Yeah, Genji. Okay, so with that, I'm surprised that they would ban Genji. You'd think that they would ban, you know, the character that was the biggest problem in the previous bout. You know, so why not ban like for Calgary, it would have been their benefit to probably ban Ball, and for UFT probably be in their benefit to ban either the Orisa or one of the other tanks, but honestly, that does risk that like you can't play those characters.
I feel like the Tracer would be the better pick for UFT, because that eliminates one of the key conditions to be able to actually find a pick for themselves. They did rely on that Tracer and that Soldier a lot, but they didn't find success in the Soldier in the first point to be able to actually have a stable foundation to dive with. So what do you take off? The one that did actually have impact, the Tracer.
Yeah, the Tracer and the Ball had the most impact. So I'm very surprised the ban is going out to the Genji, unless we don't know how these teams really play outside of this. So maybe one team actually does play Genji a lot on this map because they know how to operate Genji on a map like this. So maybe take him out is the right call, but it's honestly up in the air.
Yeah, and we're waiting on the ban, the next one to come through. It's going to be quite interesting what they go for here, because there's so many options, so many tactics, but we're going to see Ana it right there.
Again.
Ana. Again. Can we get a third time next map?
I wonder why.
3 times.
Place your bet. Place the bets now in chat. Is Ana gonna get banned a third time? Find out. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned on the next episode of CIE.
I'm very curious though. Why ban Ana specifically? I do understand, but at the same time I don't, because Ana. Why focus on Ana and not ban a character who's been a threat already?
I feel like because they of the impact and the amount of threat that Ana poses over every single other support. Ana is one of those key heroes in Overwatch that has just been in every single comp, every single league, all the way from OWL to now OWC. It's one of those key conditions of a hero where it can adapt to any play style no matter what. But dive, it's so key. You've seen Ana on Dorado you're cooked. I'm sorry, chat. It's over. GG. You're cooked. If they have a good player and they have a good Ana, it's very trouble to come back from. So I feel like that's a good pick in terms of comfortability, and I feel like that's what they need right now for UFT. They're rolling the ball. They're getting it done. So it's going to be very interesting to see how they come through. And we're on the next map already.
Yeah, and the heroes are assembling. And here we go. So, okay.
Ooh, who do I see? Is he back? Sigma? Sigma's back. He was banned and probably out of the game for quite a bit of competitions in this semester seasons, as he was pretty bug with that infinite flight. But now, all good. A key hero in this map, Sigma, for these point comps. But if you know poke comps and you know their counters, it's a dive. And we're starting to see your murder hamster once again, Dragon.
Murder hamster, and we have a Widowmaker in play as well. So Calgary has a sniper alongside a Hanzo. This could determine a lot, and if Destroyer is able to commit with a good long distance relationship with that sniper rifle onto an enemy's skull, that might stop UFT's assault in their tracks. And already you can see from their POV going on the high ground, does get a graze off, just misses by an inch, but the ball going in on the rush, LOL getting the first kill and just shredding into Calgary's line. Solus getting another kill, and already UFT is bringing the bodies, and oh my god, UFT is just on a roll, figuratively and literally.
Oh my god, he can't. He's just toying with him. He's toying. Don't do him like that, please. No, you didn't have to do
like
him
a pancake.
Like that. Absolute pancake, but you have to expect it. Dive comps, you seen it last map. I don't know if the poke comp is the method for this case scenario, because it's such a counter to poke comps. You don't have a lot of compositions to deal with it at forefront, and right now it's quite hard for them to see who they're going to be targeting apart from just the backline. Sir Hispanic is that primary target. It has a lot of healing under his kit, and you already see Ball providing pressure onto that. Fair is a good pick on this case scenario because you can take a backline pressure with that, but the Solus was already doing work, just capitalizing on the amount of DPS needed to take care, and that's a beautiful slam down, and it's a sweep from UST. Key components, key dives, and they're able to take the name for it, and I feel like the mentality's starting to set in for you, Calgary.
I am absolutely jaw-dropped at that play by UFT. The murder hamster putting in the work. Just the kill feed going in, and then just that follow-through. Those Gatling guns just firing out. And once again, the advancement is going all in UFT's favor. The Ariza once again coming out onto the side of Calgary to try and counter the hamster. But I think the hamster is moving, and there is no stopping it.
There is no stopping on this hero by any short measure, and I don't think they have the team composition, so they're gonna go try for that Orisa. They know they need to switch it up, and by point 2 is the perfect time to do it. They need to find some method to be able to at least get that pressure off their backs, because that Baptiste is getting hurt way too much. Window goes up. They're gonna be trying to go for one more. The rally goes as well. Lamp gets shut down, but there's too many ults for them to deal with as Transcendence go on fully. They try to push back, but that rally is providing way too much healing, so they have to use the Transcendent of their own to be able to defend this. I don't know about you, Dragon. I'm starting to see some real stars coming up on the table now.
Oh yeah, Ninjas, it's getting heated, especially you see Destroyer just picked up a double kill. This is Calgary's opportunity to really start bringing in the pain and stopping this advanced dead in its tracks. But you have the ball in the back line once again, just coming in like a wrecking ball, swinging in. The murder hamster is out for blood, and there is no stopping it. Does have their ultimate, and the suppressing fire from the remaining members of UFT is giving the ball the best opportunity to come in on the back line, and now everyone in Calgary is focusing fire on the hamster as the rest of UFT comes in to mop them up as they are on low health, courtesy of the hamster.
Rinsa just going ham on the backline, tries to make an opportunity but can't find it. Then there's just tank v tank on the backlines, but unfortunately the ball made the first move and we'll be able to clear it off. but they get the checkpoint. They're going to fall off. They don't have a lot of opportunities, but they might go for a different pick here. But no, they're just going to top it off that health and come right back. Quite the difference maker here, and he's going to be going for the top ground as well as we see him. How can they counter this? They're going to go for that dive. They have the key term. They're going to try to push through the rain to distract this. Again, once again, they always keeping an eye on that Tracer with the ball. A lot of HP, even though there's a lot of DPS from those pistols. Law's going to try to assist that as well. Gets one of the packs from the rally. Good hit from the Brigida. And it's just target practice and just space making for UFT.
I think what Calgary needs to do, and I'm going to sound like a broken record on this, they honestly need to focus fire on the hamster. Get rid of the hamster first and then shred everybody else. That's what they need to do. If there are weaker members on UFT that do end up getting killed, like what the Cassie did to Computer, great. But do not let that hamster get an opportunity to do anything. You stop the hamster, you stop the offensive. That's what Calgary, I think, needs to do.
Exactly, and I feel like, ooh, Hainu, never mind, I'm going to quiet down because they're trying to pop some ults to see what they're going to be trying on. Rally pops in, and it's getting into an insane match, but as the Mimes gets laid out on the tarp, it's about to get messy. As all kills go through, they're close on that last point. Trace is trying to find the last one and gets it, claims. And how about you, Dragon? I'm starting to see some real hurters now.
Yeah, it is absolutely like they're bringing the pain.
Last
I think
fight.
right now this is the final fight, the final stand of Calgary, but a pulse bomb double kill coming in from Lol, and Solus getting a third as the ball comes in and just punches them back into their spawn.
Quite the round. A dominant performance on this game. UFT are looking really nice.
UFT is in a very comfortable position, but now the sides are flipped, and now Calgary is on the offensive, Toronto on the defensive, and just punching them back into their own house is insane, and then shredding their reads at the last second.
I want to get a key
what Calgary
component.
needs to do.
Yeah, I want to get a key component. The pulse bomb. You have to have a good aware player on that. Had pulse bomb online, knew that most of the team, especially the squishies, the tank was already out there, or even on the left side, but it was somewhere not aware of the backline. You got to have your tank with you if you're going to be pushing as a team. But it took that opportunity, utilized it, hit the pulse bomb immediately as soon as they exit through that tiny door and got two right off the bat. That is key Tracer gameplay.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. That was the staple point. Absolutely perfect Tracer gameplay. And now as we go in with UFT on the defensive, Calgary on the assault, it looks like they're putting the murder hamster on the bench for a moment. Bring out a new tank.
We're going to be seeing the Ramatra and stuff, a rush comp. Not one you see typically on this map. They're going to try to go for it, though. They're going to try to go for a little bit of a poke instead, but they're going to have the Soldier, no Widow. Going to have that Hanzo for that high, long-range DPS, but the Soldier's going to provide a little bit of a closer range. They're going to still play to their style aggressively, and they're going to try to climb up onto that. I'm not trying to, but they're going to try to defend that stairway. But not successful. Not if Law has anything to say about it.
No, and I honestly think this is the play to do, because now with UFT on the defensive, they don't need to push. All they need to do is just build barriers and lock down, and they are doing a fantastic job already in this first battle. A triple kill coming in from the side of UFT, taking out 3 members of Calgary in an instant.
Yeah, trying to go for that stairway, but they didn't have that. Sigma, instead of playing on the bridge, played super up close, super heavy, and provided such a difference maker in this case scenario. And now that aggression is starting to develop tenfold. 2 minutes and 50 seconds. What kind of composition will they pull through now?
Well, the composition right now, you have Destroyer on the Widowmaker, and that does ends up getting destroyed by the Solus. And Calgary taking the low ground while slowly trying to breach up the stairway. But I think focusing on the stairway is not the play because it is just turned into a kill box by UFT. Calgary needs to find another way to get through this and not go right into the bullets and blazes of Toronto. And like I said earlier, like UFT doesn't need to do much but Destroyer taking out the Hanzo with a solid shot. That's the sniper play you want to see, and that is a clear long distance enemy out of the play just for a little bit, and now this is the advancement that Calgary has.
Yep, starting to capitalize. There will be pushing on back. The pressure is starting to release on arms. Go through Rock'em Sock'em style, but they got ults to answer it. Trying to go without Gravic Flux. The Dragon claims the short on the back line with nowhere to go. Flux is going to pressure these teams through. Size in now have to deal with a whole rally in front of their face. So the Realm Watcher tries to assist, but they have the whole team just tagging behind him. Aggressive Brigida just pays off Ditto. And they will be able to destroy as much as they can. What a response back on that pressure.
Definitely, Toronto had a very dangerous response. Soul was emoting in the corner, just doing some nice exercises and vibing. The payload is stopped and the engagement goes out, but Solus does end up being taken out as the rest of Calgary goes in for the attack. This street has becoming a war zone yet again, but Toronto is on the retreat. They are being pushed back, but it is a tactical retreat as they know this area under the bridge is perfect, and now it is a kill box.
Orbital goes through, trying to find any answer, and they're going to have that rally to back them up as they pop that Ramatra ult to push them through. A lot of ultimate spot of their ult of their own, but they have no more, and the problem with that is they have the Dragon, they have the Visor to answer, they're keeping these ult tracks, and it's petty in dividends as they pop both. Dragon claims one on that support line. The Visor trying to do as much DPS as they can, while it takes just trying to focus the back line, but they're together, glued, a team that will not unprevail with 16 seconds remaining. Dragon, how can they come back?
The way to come back is what they need to do is just attack and get everybody off. They need to focus fire, but the thing is, UFT has a defense similar to Fort Knox, but Calgary brought out a ball of their own at the last second.
The whip, the nay of the Brigida, whips it back. No ball today. That's another map. And we're gonna have a play of the game from LOL. The Hanzo
and
that
let's see
paid the
this
dividends
play
on the snipes.
You see the shred, the first kill, the second kill going out once, and just arrows flying. Manages to get that, not that third, and good play. Solid accuracy from LOL there on that play of the game, but Toronto not only bringing a heavy offense in that first round. The moment the tables flipped and Calgary was on the offensive, Toronto had a absolute system of a defensive strategy. That was locked down better than Fort Knox.
I believe it could be even more lockdown. If there was a case scenario where, if you do remember, Conquer's Bad Fur Day, there was that army whole side passing everything as they can. I feel like it felt like that for Calgary. Now you gotta have sympathy for them, but you also gotta pay attention to what Calgary was trying to do as well. They had the responses. They were able to at least get target practice, but they were just not able to upkeep with the ult tracking. I feel the ult tracking was very, very on point for UFT to be able to just immediately respond. They didn't have any support ults. They used the support out early to be able to deal with what they had with that aggression that Calgary provided. They executed it early, but the Visor utilized wasn't backline kind of just taking advantage. No, he went full in. Dragon immediately taking it onto the backline side, going through the walls as dragons do, mythical creatures. But it's quite dragon. Quite insanity to see the adaptation from both teams, and you got to hand it to Calgary. They're just dealing with as much as they can, and there's different tactics, and I feel like this time it was all tracking. They had the upkeep on that in order to deal with what they need to do in Circuit Royale.
They definitely did, and that is a very difficult map, especially when you're on the offense against a team that's a very strong defense. And it just comes down to not just adaptability, but the ability to really do a good threat assessment. I think the main threat assessment for UFT in that potential was Sojourn on the side of UFT. If Calgary could have found a way to really suppress that Sojourn, they could have pushed the front line a little bit. But we will have to see in game 3 how this potential series point goes for this third place matchup because UFT is sitting pretty and Calgary has an opportunity to bring it back.
Yeah, you can't count them out now yet. We're going to see a lot of action, so don't go anywhere. We're going to throw it to a quick break, 5 minutes, and we'll be able to get all that action-packed tactics right back to your screens in CIE 2025. We'll be back soon. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm back here with Dragon. Unfortunately, we won't be having that game 3. It will be a forfeit, a couple of emergency situations from the Calgary side, but the GGs nonetheless, which is going to be having that win for UFT. Congratulations on them, dominating performance. And with that, Dragon, hit it off.
We get the amazing honor to interview one of the players from UFT. We have the legendary murder hamster player Simshigi. How you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great.
How you doing? I mean, I gotta say, it's quite the dominating performance. They didn't have the ban too. I kind of want to ask your reaction on why they did not ban you.
I think they were kind of comfortable with Orisa because Orisa does counter ball, and they thought they would somehow counter my ball with Orisa. And yeah, I was looking forward to it, but it wasn't that strong. So it was
You
surprising.
kind of proved them wrong in that counter. The moment you were able to get in an optimal position within their lines, there was nothing stopping you.
Yeah. Their backline tried to fight against me, but it was really easy to keep pressure on them.
Yeah, and it was quite a difference on kind of the adaptation. I know you guys had quite the you had the target on the tracer probably 99% of the time. Was that the plan going forward, or did you just kind of think that on the moment as soon as that soldiering, that first soldiering kill, first point, first map, you immediately got that soldiering kill? What was kind of the plan? Did you have the tracer in mind?
Well, honestly, I normally don't keep track of where my tracer is, but our tracer player always keep backing me up whenever I engage. So it was really easier for me to make plays compared to other competitive games.
And that
What
first
were
kill.
the comms like?
Yeah, it wasn't strat. It wasn't planned.
Wow. And as Dragon said, what was the comms like in that in those matches?
It was mostly just me going around around the maps, and whenever I see a good angle by myself, I just goes in. And whenever I goes in, I just realize that my tracer is always right next to me. So I just keep calling that I'm going in, and just core the target that I'm looking, and somehow just I get a help from my tracer.
Wow. Team coordination and synergy. That's key in a game like this.
Yeah.
100%.
And for map 2 on that Circle Royale, you know that it was quite the composition with Poke. You were going to expect the Sigma as well. You had a pretty good first fight. What was the plan forward going into that fight? Or what you had what kind of key details were you guys looking for to attack that composition?
Our team sort of expected to have circuit for the second map, and we thought that they normally run the Sigma and double sniper. And you know how Ball is really a good counter against double sniper, but even though they're good against the is good against double sniper, Ball isn't like normally used in Circuit Royale. So I think that kind of saved us from ball ban. And I tried giving out attempt on going around the side of the wall to get over the roof and slam on the snipers. And yeah, our team just tries to target around the time when I slam. It worked. It worked. So we got their Baptist and was able to clear the rest of the team with numbers.
So key plan, key coordination just flowed very, very well for you guys.
Definitely.
And Dragon, any other questions you got there?
All my questions were kind of answered. Was still absolutely just blown away by how ruthless and merciless those plays were. It just seems, like I said, the moment you got a heavy angle on them, there was just nothing able to stop you, no matter what they did. Like I was saying, maybe you can counter me on this. I think I was saying that if Calgary wanted a chance to really actually break through their line, they had to focus on you, and they didn't focus more on you, and that gave you high opportunities to really be an issue. Do you think that if Calgary really did like focus a lot of fire on you, could the plays have gone differently?
Definitely. The thing about Wrecking Ball is that it's really hard to make plays as a Wrecking Ball once it starts to get pressured by by enemy team. But I wasn't able to see much of that. It might be because I was trying to avoid that as well, but Calgary wasn't doing that much. So I was able to make more plays as Wrecking Ball, give impacts in the game. Well, it was less difficult for like yesterday matches, but it would have definitely changed if they started pressuring me a lot.
Mm. Yeah,
And
I
that
mean,
answers all my questions.
yeah, we kind of saw some of that pressure as well going forward in that second map, which is kind of comes to my last question here with that team composition. Why did you guys switch to the Sigma? We know that he's good in the map, but you guys were looking really nice on the ball comp. So what was kind of why did you guys switch into that Sigma Soldier Hanzo team composition that you guys had there for the defense?
Like I said, the Circuit Royale map isn't really for ball. We just had like a good starting plan for attack, and we were able to snowball that choke and the one-way choke in the first A point. But for defense, Wrecking Ball is really hard to use for defense, and it needs a lot more coordination for a defensive dive. So instead of playing Wrecking Ball, because I also main Sigma after Wrecking Ball, so I just decided to play Sigma for safetiness.
Yeah, I mean, it was a insane performance. So thank you, Shroomsugi. You've been amazing. Great to have you, the murder hamster and the person on the wheels. Thank you for coming to the interview, buddy.
Thank you so much too.
No worries. Alrighty. That is going to be it for the third place match. GG's UFT. That is your third place team. They'll be getting a piece of the prize pool right then and there. So congratulations to them. And of course, we're going to be signing off with a little bit of an ad read because we want to be able to give you guys the best case scenarios with your banking to help you focus on what's important. Because BMO is one of our sponsors for this as well to give you anything you need. You can check out any of their student applications and events they have because they can save you multiple times in your checkings and savings account. They have some this stuff for getting some awards as well. You can get $150 cash or 6 months of Domino Pizza with their current student offers. They also have a contest running for us. If you tap !contest to be able to complete a form and meet with a BMO representative, you have a chance to enter a one of five $20 gift card of digital Steam money. And of course, we love BMO Next Level. It's a Twitch channel, and Sean Frame loves to be able to. Sorry, my bad. Sean Frame loves to be able to give that opportunity to anyone they love to talk about your finances, what you can be better, smarter, and stream some of your famous games as well, giving you some advice and some good gameplay at the same time. So definitely BMO Next Level. That is a BMONNXTLVL on that command pool to be able to get their Twitch channel. And of course, some of the small sponsors as well to be able to shout out on Strawberry and Egg. They're a local business local in Vancouver that makes large video games and anime themed plushies. I know I love some insane plushies, especially it's good for gifts, good for little types of little neat niche and surprises. Definitely check them out. They're pretty amazing. A charity show sponsor as well, Soulless, esports team rivals in Vancouver, BC. We're going to be having that as well. And of course, Esport Canada, the one that supports all of us in this national composition. We love to see them. But that's going to be it from everything. Dragon, anything else to say?
Everything's kind of been said. You put that very well. It was fun to get back and to be casting for the CICE once again, and once again casting with my favorite co-caster on this planet. And thank you all so much for tuning in and watching this. This was an insane match, and there's a lot more to come up ahead. So stay tuned and keep an eye on what's coming up next.
We got grand finals, St. Clair versus Simon Fraser University. We love to see it. We're going to sign it off in here. You'll be able to be expecting beautiful faces of Orbital and Spaffles coming to you live. Thank you to Prod. Thank you to our observers here. But of course, it's going to be us. And I want to catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
We are back here ready once again for the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition for the Overwatch 2 Grand Finals. My name is Orbital. With me is Spaffles, and we will be watching this entire amazing matchup between St. Clair Saints Academy versus SFU Raccoons. Spaffles, are you ready?
And I am ready. I'm raring to go. It's been an exciting day so far. The U of T versus UCal match. It just amped me up. I'm ready to get into this one. How are you doing, Orbital?
I'm doing okay, Been a little bit busy over the weekend, but could not be more excited for this match. As we talked about, these two squads making it here into the first place match of the championship. We'll see who can take it home. Let's go ahead and take a look at the rosters here. I believe we're looking at St. Clair Saints Academy first. They're going to go ahead and give us a little bit of a taste of what for Grubby, Invu, Brenburn, Redix, and Loveno. All five of these players going to be gracing the battlefield for this BO5.
Yep, you've all gotten a taste of them before yesterday when they faced off in the semifinals. And now that we're coming back again, there is a small roster change. We've got Invu in for Razor. Razor is going to be absent from tonight's matchup, but we are ready and raring to go. I'm expecting great things from this Tracer player, and all I'm going to say is Grubby in my notes. All it says there is Flex God. Right? They're the Sojourn player, they're your hit scan, they're your flex. Yeah, you might even see them come in as a different role. But now that we're done gassing up the St. Clair's Academy team, let's go over to the SFU.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at the Raccoons, the squad. Yuan, Change, Hero, King Quan, as well as Akasha. All five of these players going to be joining in. Of course, making the way in the group stage, and for me especially, I'm a little bit excited for what King Kwang can do. Obviously, may not be on that tank, but might swap things up during the entirety of the match, depending on how some of these hero bands go as well, and maybe some of the map types. You can tell a lot of them like to play a little bit interesting pickups.
For sure, and I think the special sauce, that glue that holds the team together, is just their appreciation for ball. I think that out of these players, 3 of them have ball among their most played, and I think that's a really solid foundation for your team building exercise.
Yeah. They love it all. Now, of course, let's take a look at the maps that I'll be running up here. I believe the map types, never really changing. We got Control, Escort, Push, Hybrid, Flashpoint. First to 3 going to be enjoying themselves, and surprisingly enough, Busan being that Control first. This one with some exceptions in there. We've seen it be utilized heavily. I mean, normally it's like Lijiang Tower and all that fun stuff, but Busan is always a good one to go to.
Yeah, it's always a fun time getting, your different flavors of Korea. Love going to the outside city center, getting a lot of that verticality in play, and also going over to the mecha bases. There is a lot of potential, especially for a pretty ball-heavy team. Although I'm really interested in seeing how St. Clair are going to put their own brawl-type spin on this.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. Let's go ahead, dive on into the bans. As we mentioned before, each team gets 1 ban, and specifically for this game, we'll see. Looks like it's going to be a Genji and Lucio. So Genji being a premier DPS, we've seen it rise to the occasion a lot of times. You mentioned some of the flexibility in there, but this makes sense following through as well. You're looking at Lucio, none of that. I would say decent, consistent healing.
Yeah, Lucio is he's a very strong main support, even after Juno released and sort of is starting to encroach on his niche a little bit. That ban isn't quite what it used to be, but it's still a very, very strong, death nail into that coffin of the Brawl playstyle. If you're not very comfortable running your double flex supports, if you're not comfortable running your Juno Briggs, you can be in some pretty hot water pretty quickly with a Lucio ban.
And that's going to be the adjustments being made out. So we'll go ahead, I believe, dive right on into the match here shortly. And to me, this, when it comes to Control, it feels like it is the standard for pace of play, right? Spaffles, when you take a look at Control, it is the ultimate offense defense. You have to know how to pull back the reins and maybe step back, say, hey, our comp isn't working, or you do have to know, are you going to take point? Are you going to try and retake point in a consistent manner? How do you approach a lot of these fights?
I mean, Control used to be the Mickey Mouse game mode, for lack of a better term, where both of these teams, they're throwing punches at each other. It gets really ugly really fast, and it's really heavily momentum based. As soon as you get those first caps, you need to just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing, right? So the key to winning on Control is how your team is able to convert this momentum from an attack into a defense, and how do you keep that ball rolling.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive on in. This is going to be a game number 1 between St. Clair's Saints Academy and SFU Raccoons. Both squads are looking to take a game number 1 and, make sure to start things off on the right foot. Ooh, and a beautiful overview. Once again, looking at center stage, a little bit more open to start things off.
Yeah, it's nice open map. Is premier for a lot of snipers or longer range hit scan players, expecting to see especially Freya her ability to dance around and look for those big damage, those big pick opportunities. We see Change already hovering it. It is very, very strong for SFU. However, St. Clair, they're rolling out again. Their Ramatra Brawl comp is just a staple for them. They've rolled it 4 times so far in the tournament, and they're coming out swinging with it again. Invu rolling out on the Tracer, and Grubby as well on the Soj.
Let's see if it actually works in the same. Now go ahead and wonder itself as we are out. Round number 1, BO5FT3. It'll be St. Clair Saints Academy versus SFU as first tag is approached. We mentioned this little Tracer and the Sojum for the side of St. Clair Saints Academy, and see if they're able to pull it off right now, though. Middle ground is where they're situated. Side note for Yuan, trying to get some extra damage, but Grubby locked down on the other end. Great snipe to start as Hero brings out a comfortable here and is now going to chase even further. Nice little pushback brings Brenburn right back to the rest of the squad. They're going to lock down Redix and looking for a bit more as trades abound. SFU go ahead and turn first.
Yep, Invu found a pick onto Yuan, winning the Tracer one-on-one, but it just wasn't enough in the situation. Hero, I want to say they went on a flank, but more so it was the rushing mid, right? They went around from the objective, and they wrapped around and took Grubby off guard. Now, as St. Clair is setting up again, Invu is deep into the backline, getting marked by Yuan, their counterparts, but Akasha now flying above the enemy team.
I'm wondering exactly if it is going to work for the St. Clair Saints Academy. They're going to try and run it, and Invu and Brenburn saying, yes, we can if we find those marks. Both Change and Akasha are gone, and there is going to be 2 other drops as well, leaving King Quan the only one alive. Very comfortable, measured, clinical decimation. Saints Academy, good job turning.
Yep, nice clean fight, big quick flip, and now they're starting up their percentage of their own. SFU are looking back. They have the Terra Surge looking to find a pick if possible. It's going to be very powerful in this matchup. Yuan gets the first blood onto Redx.
I think that's very, very comfortable yet again, but for SFU Raccoons, they have 3 ults to work with, and that might be the game changer. There they go. Go ahead. Get a little bit of that bola out, but isn't enough to actually turn for the Saints Academy, and looks like they're able to walk away a little bit further, but the more they back away, the more they leave themselves open to Prime Picking's beautiful job by the Raccoons. Really easy turn yet again, 40%.
Yeah, that Paddington's hold W tech it, and it really does help that they have 2 incredibly fast charging DPS ult from the Freya, from the Tracer, and is able to really leverage that advantage that they continue to show. 50% taking up on the point, and looking very, very comfortable. St. Clair walking back up with an orbital ray and a rally of their own.
Maybe this is that turn of their own. As you got the orbital ray coming down here, bolstering their entire ranks. Same with the rally, and Hero just starts to overwhelm. It is a comfortable one to start, but of course Hero makes it a big punch. Brenburn though turns it right around, and Grubby taking a little bit low. No worries though. And again with that wash, it is going to be a 4 gone total. Yuan makes it 5, and it will be at a 78%. Saints Academy get their chance yet again.
Yeah, Brenburn absolutely not going to take this lying down. The Annihilation pummeling down on the SFU's backline. And now that they're in the driver's seat very comfortably, St. Clair have a chance to expand their lead for the first time so far on this point. SFU coming back. They have no ults to their name. They're looking to build them and build them fast.
Of course, there's another stick on the back end. Invu trying to bring some damage, but honestly, good little heal. Grubby, though, in the mix, right in the forefront. Great snipe there, overclock. Acceleration abound. Yuan is gone. Sniping out change out of the air. And Grubby's like, you guys made that way too easy. The Raccoons have to back away and try and hang on another time. But Grubby, great ult.
Yeah, very well played from Grubby. He just knows how to hit those shots anytime, any day of the week. But eyes are on SFU. They have the ults available now to make this next fight work as we're taking up. We're entering last fight territory. 90% on the board for St. Clair, and SFU are rushing the board.
I mean, they need this rush, and they're able to get some of that positioning. Now it's challenged back by the Saints Academy. And will they find a hero? Trying to pump out the DPS, trying to stand in the front line. Grubby holding on with their HP. There's a little bit of yet again, and Redix is taking quite low, but you have to stay on the point. Great ult to come out here as a terrorist surge allows Akasha to bring the DPS, and now you go ahead and find Brenberg. This is the watch out in return, and at 99%, the Raccoons find the battle.
You have SFU, they live on to fight another day, but that day might come to a swift close. St. Clair are going to be rushing back in with a pulse bomb, with a rally, and very soon Annihilation in tow. Right, so this is, are they going to be able to touch it? Are they going to be able to get in? A rally gets popped quite early.
They're using it to try and get through the front doors. I like this call for the Saints Academy. They're going to walk in. Good Invu says, hello, I got that pulse. King Kwon goes down over the way to try and keep everyone alive on the Raccoon side, but it's an overwalk, overrunning of the DPS on St. Clair's Saints Academy side, and they decimate SFU. That will be all 5 gone. King Kwon having to respawn with the OT taken down. St. Clair's Saints take round 1.
That was incredibly close through and through. The amount of back and forth gameplay from both of these teams is truly astounding. It's truly indicative of these top number 1 and number 2 seeds. Now, as we're suiting up, we're getting ready to go into the city center. I wonder how these teams are going to adapt to what the others are doing. Because that Orisa was really paying dividends, was able to sort of part the seas and get that position on point. But afterwards, when it came to the defense, it really felt like it was struggling. And St. Clair were able to run circles and really take advantage of that lack of mobility. Now we see SFU making the swap. They're going to go over to the Winston composition instead, and they're trading in Juno for an Ana.
And I mean, Winston's great for getting to that back line. Maybe they've identified that Grubby and Invu are just being an absolute pain in the backside, which could be true in its own right. But here comes that rush. Grubby saying, hey, even if you try, you might not have that shield and heals. See what we can do. That Winston popping on high, but Grubby realizing that they are getting tangled on in the backside. Really nice understanding of where everyone is at. Able to find Akasha as well. So first blood goes away as St. Clair, and they're going to use that to kind of rocket straight onto station. Good burn on the backside as King Kwon is not going to like that HP bar, and Invu with a great double punch, 1-2 knockout in the 1v2. They will fall, but the rest of the team by the Saints Academy able to take first turn.
And Invu's absolutely on fire this round. From a 1 clip onto the Ana, sending her straight to the retirement home. It doesn't look like we even have any time to rest. Change got a pick onto Grubby, and SFU are going to take advantage of this momentum to walk their way back onto this point.
And for me, it's just the Saints Academy saying, yeah, you can try all you want, but is it really going to be enough? Snap 1, snap 2 yet again. And change, I mean, you're trying to make some magic happen. This Freya, it's always interesting to watch for you taking a little bit low. Great snipe to punch back, though. As SFU, Raccoon saying, hey, maybe we don't want to be there. Grubby Annihilate, though, hero with that Winston, as we said, trying to be that hero. Now a chase by U1. Are they able to find that tank? If they can, maybe get a turn on point themselves, but they got to battle for a very long time. Academy, though, Saints Academy saying, please let that pulse be enough, but it was only 1 twist back. U1 rewinding time, and SFU Raccoons punch through for St. Clair Saints Academy. Lose their turn, but at 52%, great hold.
Very well placed shots, and the positioning as well from Hero as well as Change, it really sent St. Clair for a loop. Being able to take out Grubby on the Sojourn extremely early, she's still only 55% towards overclock. It's a really, really big deficit. However, St. Clair already had 50% on the payload.
Let's see if they can do a little bit more. U1 getting another pulse off though, and that's another wash. Beautiful job. Invu's only able to find one, but the rest of the team is down. So for the Academy squad, they are lost. That's an easy one as well. St. Clair Saints Academy not liking the fact that the Raccoons took it so cleanly.
Yeah, that nano boost onto the monkey is a really quick and clean fight ender, as well as U1's pulse bomb really made sure that there was no opportunity for a mix-up. Now Brenburn is rushing back in as the Ramatra, has the Annihilation ready and raring to go. He's closing in on the supports.
Ooh, U1 really keeping eyes on Love Note. I like this. U1 with the Tracer showing up here. 10-player kill streak. And it doesn't feel like it's stopping at all. Down goes Brenburn. SFU Raccoons hide away and punch away. 13 fight in a row. One. St. Clair Saints Academy wondering what's going wrong.
And it is so hard to dislodge this Winston, especially when you're lacking in so much of that vertical mobility. There is just, you have to play around him. You have to try and take these fights faster, but especially when you're staring down the barrel at a monkey with an Ana staring right back at you, there is little that you can do in response. There's going to be an early contest by the Tracer. Overclock gets popped by Grubby.
And maybe that's enough. Hero saying hello, but U1 yet again, amazing pulse. We're just watching U1 take control of the entire match. Maybe they need to change their name to Hero, because they are one. That is another turn in favor, and the Raccoons are pushing to the end.
You won, I won, we all won. 95% on the points. Don't know if they're going to be able to get a contest. They are able to touch last second. A break falls down to the monkey. U1 secures another kill on the contesting Sombra, and there's nobody left to defend. SFU secure a very solid showing on the Busan City Center and able to tie us up 1-1.
And now we are... I mean, I don't know. U1 woke up. I have no idea what happened. We're seeing multi-swaps coming out from the Academy squad, and Grubby, I mean, moving to that Sombra, it's now a chase action. And I feel like it's identified as U1. U1 is the problem. That's it all day long.
Yeah. And it's a very good problem to be if you're looking at it from SFU's side, because they've really found their bread and butter. They found that knife that they're able to twist in St. Clair's side. But now that we're going over to the Mecha base and there isn't that opportunity to play around the Winston as aggressively, they're going to be falling back onto this Ramatra, right? This is going to be the first time that they've swapped over to it. I'm interested in seeing what spin they're going to put on it this time.
A Love Note going ahead and saying, hey, look, we're not going to allow U1 to do this once again. Love Note and Grubby quite literally full sending onto U1, and with U1 down first, it's a team kill out the gates before the point is unlocked.
And that was really quick and dirty, especially seeing the health bars on both of these teams and how quickly they accelerated towards zero. I'm surprised that was not as bloody of a fight as I thought it would be. Right now, as we're getting in a quick touch from U1 onto the point, trying to divert their attention, Brenburn runs in, chasing down the Freya.
And for Hero, Brenburn, you realizing that maybe you lost a few too many people. You chased one, but lost three. And Brenburn's like, yo, where's the rest of my team? Guys, help, guys. And down you go. SFU, for better, for worse, they were able to bait out a hard push at St. Clair Saints Academy. I don't think they like that.
A quick cap, nice conversion from SFU. Stopped St. Clair after only getting 15% compared to the first time around. It was closer to 30. Right now that we're leading into this next fight, I got all eyes really on these Tracers. They're all almost available. We also do have Hero with the Annihilation ready to go.
That might be the twist again. King Quan taking a little bit low, but Change was ready to help out. Brenburn being lost their lives yet again, meaning for the Saints Academy, you don't have a tank. You have to back away. You have to play a little bit slow and try and reset this value here. Stepping up, great low burn there. And you're good. You have forced them back. Love Note taking low as well. But in goes the bolt as Change is ready for the battle. Invu, though, winning it out against U1. And you talked about the Tracer v Tracer. Well, Invu had the chance to do one of the greatest moves here yet. But it was the Volo plus the Annihilation, as you were mentioning. And that's the burn. But here can only do so much as Brenburn and Grubby fight right back. DPS overload from St. Clair Saints Academy. And it's blood on both sides of these teams.
And both of these teams, they went pretty much equal in terms of ultimates, but then the real decision, the decider in that fight is going to be St. Clair's early pick onto Yuan. Right, it overextended a little bit too much, tested their limits, pushed it towards their spawn, and they paid for it dearly. St. Clair now trying to make up for lost space, and Brenburn, sorry, keeping up this choke.
Right now, this is Love Note saying, I gotta go ahead and get that pulse. The Knight's a little over the way on both ends, but is it really enough? Hero trying to block a lot of the damage, backing away from this fight, corridor into this stairwell. For Invu and the rest of the squad, they're rallying up. They're making sure that they keep this hold, passing by SFU Raccoons. Point take control. Brenburn this time finding change, who stepped in a little bit too quickly, and Grubby now getting aggressed on. This is the chase that you like to see. Brenburn chasing out a main DPS, putting Hero into an awkward position as you've lost your DPS as well. Redix takes them down, and the mace does so good. Saints Academy win yet another battle.
Yeah, they traded tank for tank there, but unfortunately for them, SFU were not quite packing enough damage. They weren't able to trade fast enough, and both of these tracers, they burn so bright, but Invu was just a little brighter in that fight. 90% now onto the point. This is last fight territory. Are SFU going to be able to pull it together, and are they going to be able to shut down this overclock?
I think for me, that's the whole question. Hero, though, getting her great little punch. Grubby taking the fall, and I don't think you like that one. Change doing the exact same. But Brenburn was able to hang on for the time being. Can you find more? It's a 3-3 loss. Now another Brenburn saying, I got a better annihilation. I got an annihilation of a 1v5. And that's going to give enough time for the rest of the St. Clair Saints Academy to get right back over. And they're going to turn this right again. SFU Raccoons, OT for their own. Are they going to be able to touch the point? That's the question. Having on Love Note, going to be running a little bit of extra pace, forcing everyone away. And Invu with a great pulse bomb. King Kwang can't survive. Brenburn yet again with a punch, but Hero with annihilation of their own. They twist, they say the second one might be enough. This battle has been extending for about 30 seconds or more. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though, as Invu yet again is running into the entirety of the fray, taking out everyone one by one. And that will be the Raccoons falling as St. Clair Saints Academy take map 1.
And at the end of the day, St. Clair, they really just had that bigger stick. They're able to get the ultimates online, and they're able to use them just a little bit better. Once those teams were both condensed into that same tight corridor, it was so much cleave damage, so much opportunity for St. Clair to take advantage of, and SFU, they weren't quite able to outmaneuver them to the same degree as we saw in Busan City Center. St. Clair take the first map in a very, very close fashion. Yeah, what are your thoughts, Orville?
I'm sitting there just overall impressed. Again, it was a back and forth pacing, but the adjustments that were made, I think, is the cleanest part about it. When we talk about, identifying the opponent that's kind of giving you a lot of problems, Yuan in around 2 was very, very prominent for the side of the Raccoons. And for Saints Academy, they rolled it back. They said, okay, now we need to hunt for Yuan. We need to take them out. The swap to the Sombra, I think, had limited success, but it was the identification of who do we need to target focus. At that point, it was Yuan. And for the Raccoons, they weren't able to do it on their own. Going into the second match, though, we are looking at, I believe, a hybrid here, and this might be enough. I am very curious to see if the Saints Academy squad are going to be ready to roll here as well.
Yeah, there are so many opportunities for both of these rosters to take advantage of. St. Clair, they're sticking true to their guns. They're going, we have one comp that we practice. We do it really, really well, and we're going to stick it through beginning to end. Meanwhile, SFU, they're throwing everything at the wall, and they're hoping to see what sticks. And there has been a great degree of success in it so far. I want to point out Hero swapped to 3 characters in that map. They played the Arista, they played the Ram, and they played the Winston, right? Changing them based off of what was the best for that situation. I think that's very commendable, right? And we also saw Akasha as well, switching around those flex supports. There's a lot of potential here for, I just really want to highlight the Tracer gameplay, right? Yuan absolutely popping off, and Invu really rising to the occasion. Both of these DPS, they shine so bright, and I just can't wait to see how they're going to take us into this next map.
Well, we have gotten word, and I was a little bit wrong. It's not hybrid, it's escort. So control escort, push hybrid flashpoint. That's what we're looking at. SFU have picked Dorado, and when it comes to Dorado, a little bit darker on the map, but huge open air. If we're talking about the pick and run styles, I mean, we've seen Traces do a lot of work here. I think in the past we've also seen Echoes and Faras also round out, but there's a lot of choke points. There's a lot of different spots that either you can get locked down or you just fight in open spaces with a lot of extra verticality if the teams wish to do so as well.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, right, it really plays into that ballpark that SFU are obviously so comfortable on. Is you really want to play it traditional, you want to play it clean Dorado, you want to play it with your dive tanks, you're going to play it with your Ana Briggs support line, and a new addition really here is going to be that Freya again, right? We absolutely saw how Change was able to tear up the scene with it in the first map, and this is going to be no different. On that first attacking points, right, her ability to jump around on those rooftops and suspend herself mid-air with her right clicks and her updrafts, it is unparalleled in the amount of damage and burst potential that she can dish out.
Well, hopefully it is continuing to be of use. As you mentioned, I'm interested overall. We have also gotten word that there are some good bans coming through here. So it's a Diva ban for SFU and St. Clair ban out Ana. So instead of those two swaps, you know, that DPS and support, it is a support and tank. And Diva I actually haven't seen that much of. The fact that for Saints Academy they aren't going to be able to run the Diva here makes me you know, a little bit worried.
Yeah, Diva is one of those St. Clair classics. It's actually the character that Brenburn has the most playtime on in the tank role. And, you know, being able to take that away from them is a very good position to be in. And obviously Diva has, you have her ups and downs, but currently in the meta, she is quite strong. Her ability to dish out damage with her dual shotguns, they'll just eat up so much pressure using her defense matrix. It is a formidable pick to be fighting against and a good ban for SFU. However, St. Clair's are looking to take Ana off the board. It really puts SFU in a pretty tricky situation. How are they going to try to maneuver themselves around this? Are they going to have to play a tighter, more mobile composition, or are they going to try and sort of mold another one of these supports into that playstyle that Ana leaves with a massive hole?
Of course, that'll be, you know, as you said, a little bit of an Ana difference there. And, you know, having the extra healing with the snipes is going to be different. Overall, though, we will see exactly how this pans out. We have heard no side changes, I believe. And I believe that would put Saints Academy on defense to start with the Raccoons on attack. And if that's how it's going to go down, I'll be very, very, very curious to go ahead and dive on in. Keep in mind for the Saints Academy, we are set to roll as they are up 1-0 here in this first 3.
Yep. There has been, it's been a recurring topic of debate. If you are the confident team, if you want to really close out this match early, which side would you pick on an escort match? And in my personal opinion, really, it's just going to be your defensive side, right? St. Clair, after taking that, you know, victory very closely on map 1, they're going to sort of try to capture that spark again and really continue this pressure onwards. Because if you're able to really snuff out the attacking side, if you're able to prevent them from pushing far into the map, A, it is a very, very big momentum killer, and B, it really allows you to manage your time very aggressively and, you know, really plan out with advanced strategy how you're going to take a lot of these fights, knowing exactly how much time you have left. Now, SFU are going to pivot to a slightly different composition. The 4th character for hero this series so far, no Winston, it's going to be Hazard instead. Nice pick, and both of these teams are obviously going to be picking up the Kiriko instead of the Ana.
Well, I do wonder exactly who is going to be, you know, the Hazard to me is always great, but it's normally on control or something a little bit more refined. So to have it on the attacking side will be questionable, but Brenburn saying, let's go ahead and dive on in. And that's going to be that payload being pushed forward. Yuwon, though, easy snipe number 1 as a Genji is now available. Comfortable job. We didn't even talk about that. With the DPS unlocked, Yuwon is going to be enabled yet again.
Yeah, making sure to just, swap over to the Genji. I have no doubt that they're incredibly adept at it. I want to see if they're able to perform as well as they did on that Tracer. Right, clearing the first corner in such demanding fashion is very strong for SFU.
Seeing they do more change though, sticking with their own. Grubby, great snipe. Number 1 gets a second. Love No goes down though. Is here and change. Turn the tides. 2 for 2 so far. Looking for yet another. And Hero, great spikes to force Grubby back down. But with the smattering on both ends, it's danger all around, which does allow SFU to hang on to that payload push. Really nice win.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful push so far. And SFU, they're really defying a lot of those big hold points that typically the defensive side would have. It's going to be a last-second contest from Burn. We see Invu on the angle as well. Hazard getting shot from way too many angles. Change gets a pick. Quan with a second. And SFU are not bowing out of this one yet. King Quan gets a third, and Change secures 2. Wow. Okay.
This is brutal from SFU. I'm just saying, this is them unchallenged so far. And I mentioned for St. Clair Saints Academy, we said we know that they can do some work. We've seen them do it before. They literally won map 1, but this time around they haven't really found the momentum, found their pacing. We just saw Grubby also swap over to the Freya, looking for a couple of those snipes, looking for a couple of those arrows, and that allows Invu to actually chase out Akasha. So Akasha is now got down. Look for another as the pulse is in your favor, and Lucio unbanned but now taken down. Ju1 getting a little bit of flavor and gets a second as well. So the damage has been nullified for the time being, as that's going to be the first St. Clair Saints Academy win, if you can call it that.
Yeah, I mean, shutting down the carry is a very, very strong position to be in, and the Change, talking about carries, takes down Love Notes, and SFU, they're mounting up their attack again. I also want to point out that Grubby made the swap over to Freya to sort of match a lot of this pressure that Change is bringing, but Change is already heated up. They're ready to go. They've been playing it all series, and they are bringing that Fragger mentality into it. 3 minutes and 55 seconds remaining, and a lot of ultimates for SFU, almost all 5. St. Clair are going to have to take a very economic fight.
For them, they're going to go ahead and invest that Kirka Rush, making sure to have the gates available. But SFU shut it down. Hero and Change bring the bola as well as a little bit of the spike power. Double ult uses to deny 1, and St. Clair Saints Academy got nothing.
And it does sound very strong, but nothing is the correct term. As SFU, they're able to, again, continue to aggressively push forward. They only expended the downpour and the bola shot, and the bola shot's already 33% back up. Right? Meanwhile, St. Clair, they're still struggling to get their first rotation of ultimates, especially with the swaps. Grubby making another swap over to the Genji. They're just swapping up the strategy yet again.
You just have to watch NCB draw coming out here. Reddick saying, I got time. This time we're going to hold it on this corner. Maybe they can, but Akasha does the exact same, says, hello, you can't hang on, you won, chases out Brenburn. And the SFU Raccoons waste no time. They pick apart the Saints Academy roster. They say, no, it doesn't matter if you beat 1 or 2 of us. We will annihilate you all. You won on a 10-player kill streak, and SFU Raccoons look to end this round.
Yeah, but SFU, they need to take some time here to lick their wounds, though. It's been a very strong push, but they did lose some members in that last fight now that all are starting to get involved. Queen Quan holding on to the beats. This is going to be a fight-deciding ultimate in this next excursion. We're ending up around the last corner. Downpour catches none.
That's going to be another pulse. Invu with a great boop, number 1, and make sure to get the punch, but U1 punches back. And remember, it's all about getting that payload push. St. Clair Saints Academy. The one saying we got to round it out a little bit further, but Hero once again, out come those spikes, bringing down the damage, and a great melee into Love Note. There goes that beat drop, but it's quickly burned out in the twist. So Grubby actually able to swap yet again onto the Genji, and maybe they turn it around here. King Quan making their mark yet again, though, in the battling back, but Invu says, now the damage hasn't done. For the first time, St. Clair Saints Academy hold the line.
Yep, that's that foothold that you need. As long as you're able to stop that overwhelming momentum. SFU burned all of their ultimates in an attempt to push the payload further, but now that St. Clair, they have their positioning, they have 4 ults on the up and up, and they are looking quite unshakable, at least for the foreseeable future. Invu going in quite deep, gets the stick onto Lucio, and it's an early pick.
I mean, that's what you want to make, though, for St. Clair. They've been taking a little bit of time. It's a much needed pick on the King Quan, which now puts Hero in a really devastating position. As you mentioned, without that Lucio, you don't have that safety value. You aren't able to frontline tank as cleanly as before. Let's go, remember, though. It's going to be a test and a pace. St. Clair Saints Academy. 3 ultimates ready. 2 on the flip side as SFU look to break on through. There's the gates yet again. Heroes made a mark number 1, but Invu in the back line, chasing everyone away. High ground, though, as Hero takes their turn directly into Brenburn, and that's the damage that you wish. Change is down, but it's the tank v tank, and Hero lining it up. Out comes the blade, though, and Grubby trying to do work, but it barely does much. There is going to be the slash. Finally, thanks to that beat drop on the flip, St. Clair Saints Academy do their best and win the 3rd team fight in a row.
Yeah, incredibly bloody fight. SFU, they gave him a good shout. Yumon swapping over to the Genji, sort of trying to diagnose the issue. Tracer is no longer going to be working, especially with how there's only really realistically one route through this side of the map. And they are preparing again. 1 minute and 30 seconds remaining. They have the down port available. Are they going to be able to use it?
And hopefully going to, yet again, in the front line. Hero hasn't changed off of this, but Invu starts it off with a quick pick on Yuan. The Yuan's not going to like that one. Hero goes right back, though, so the Tracer is now gone on the flip. No pulse bomb for the immediate future, but maybe in just a few seconds. See that mix. Hero steps up, waiting for a chance to push everyone back. The St. Clair Saints. So let's go ahead and wait it out for a moment. Backing out, though, because of those gates, trying to wait that ult out, but that's over 3 minutes burned away. SFU have got to be getting desperate here. At the final point, Stick not going to land. Indu have to back away, and it's only the double guns in turn. King Quan ready with the beat drop on their own. If they can make it work, and they wait for change to get that bola, get that hold, we can see some damage on. There goes the bullet. Is it going to be able to land? No, I don't believe so. You tag him in the corner, though, as Brenburn ain't able to do much. Changing King Quan make use of here in the corner and turn it directly on the St. Clair Saints. Redix is down. Loveno follows. Invu's the only one is live, and it's SFU to scrap together a team fight with 30 seconds left.
Yep, St. Clair, they took a quick defeat, and now they're coming back up. They're ready to strike again. All ultimates down for both sides. The closest one is going to be the Kitsune Rush from Akasha, if they're going to be able to get it. These teams skirmishing very deep onto the point. Big pick from Brenburn taking down King Quan. Akasha falls next after. No supports remaining. Change takes down Redix. Hero gets another. That's a bloody fight indeed. Hero gets one. Yuan takes down Love Notes. And it looks like things are turning out SFU's color after all.
It only needed a moment, and they found the battle. Now we're in OT. Invu has done massive work of their own. A little bit faltering at the very end, but this time with that Tracer saying, hey, this is that raw damage that we need. SFU scrambling, but OT is gone at 78.22 meters. St. Clair able to hold the line.
And after that impressive start to this map from SFU, I was really expecting to see some greatness. I was expecting them to get that full cap, but unfortunately they got stopped right at the end, basically touching that finish line. St. Clair, they were able to get those fights that they needed to. It was incredibly scrappy. It was dirty fighting, but they were able to slowly over time whittle down SFU's resources while they were building up their own. Now, this is still a very good position to be in if you're an SFU fan, but this does open the door for St. Clair to make an approach of their own, right? As long as you can get to that point, St. Clair are in it, and they're going to be trying to take this to their advantage and really close this out and lead the series in a 2-0 fashion. Right? Maybe I'm looking a bit too optimistically, a bit too far ahead. Zooming it back into the start of St. Clair's attack, looks like Brenburn is taking some time to decide what they're going to play. Right, the Ramatra is a little untraditional. Right? It's very classic for St. Clair, of course, but in terms of positioning yourself up on the high ground and really challenging a lot of these dive characters, it is going to be a bit of a challenge. And I think this is really what the Hazard from Hero is meant to defy. Right, because Hazard excels in these really quick, short engages, those high burst, high momentum plays, and that is what it calls for in this kind of a situation. Brenburn making the swap over to Ball, playing Ball against the Ball enthusiast. I wonder how that one's going to go.
Saying, hey, you got to do it too if you can. But Brenburn's taking a little bit of that time, saying, I'm going to play around the edge. To be fair, I believe Dorado was one of like the peak maps for a wrecking ball back in release and all. It's one that's very, very frustrating to deal with. For a moment though, great little rollout as Bredenburn has gone around, taken lock and stock, and Grubby yet again finding Akasha. King Kwang, they try and keep everyone topped up on the Raccoon side, but is it going to be enough? Great for first push by St. Clair as no one is really in the way. Good time being made, just like SFU did earlier.
Yep, really little resistance coming their way, and SFU, they're regrouping and they're trying to reposition for another fight. Hopefully history does not repeat itself, and able to get a stronger position here in the market. U1's recall forced out quite early, and Brenburn looking quite healthy diving in deep in this backline.
And I think for change though, you're trying to get a little bit of pacing back for yourself. Once again on this Freya, doing a little bit of work. King Quan able to find Grubby's life, and there's yet another snipe. Change in hero. Really nice picks. And Brenburn this time, no help on the back end, means that the reset is going to come through. You'll keep your life for the time being. But right in front of the first checkpoint, it is going to be stopped.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes remaining. St. Clair in a really comfortable position. They have their ults coming up soon. All eyes on the Kitsune Rush from Love Note, or on SFU. They do have a lot of ultimates of their own. They have the beat especially, and the downpour to really shut down a lot of what the enemy team is trying to do. Invo with a nice stick on the high ground. King Kwan falls first.
And the thing is, that's a huge opportunity, but you weren't able to fight back because Lovenote invested the gates, and it gave Invu a false sense of security. However, Lovenote and Invu making use of this ult, trying to turn it back. Akasha brings their own gate, but it was way too late. Change and Yuan were down, so Invu gets free punish. Akasha goes down. Hero will fall next, and checkpoint 1 has been reached.
Alright, 4 minutes left on the clock for St. Clair. Very comfortable position to be in. Didn't really have to expend more than just the Pulse Bomb and the Kitsune Rush. SFU, they're looking to stabilize now. They did take a late death with their tank, so it's going to be a little difficult to find their foothold now, as Brenburn is really making sure to push them close. Beats off of the high ground from Red X right after killing Yuan. Bonus style points for that one.
Oh, easily. And then you got the minefield behind us, so this one feels a little bit more comfortable for St. Clair, but Akasha tried to make it a little bit more devastating. Redix able to turn it onto 1, but Brenburn annihilated means St. Clair. I mean, they invested a lot right there. Beat drop plus the minefield, and yeah, SFU were able to push them back. Really nicely done.
Yep, now St. Clair, they're looking to go up onto the high ground using those new stairs. Well, new old stairs, I would say, after the latest rework of the map. Caesar gets expended early, change with the first blood pick onto Brenburn.
I mean, for SFU, these are great picks overall. Not only did they win the earlier fight and burn 2 ultis, I was saying Claire, now they get another turn. Redix almost gone, but looking at Grubby, Grubby has a blade available. If you're able to dance well, if you're able to kind of catch out King Quan, not looking, maybe you can stop that beat drop from coming through. Another pulse bomb is ready to go, but U1 taking very low. U1 needs their own pulse to make it work, but the damage has been done. U1 set up. Hero and U1 do it all. Grubby's able to fight back, but you lost him to Redix, and yet again, SFU making it difficult. And I don't like that ult expenditure. Lovenote and Grubby drop the gates plus blade, and SFU just say no. You get no value out of it.
Yeah, that's a hero play and a half I've ever seen one. I've seen plenty of Genjis pull their blades right as they're about to die, but not really joined by a Kiriko. It's a conventional wisdom that says if it's a one player, it's a throw. If it's your team behind it, then it's a play. But I don't think it really counts in this case. Brenburn gets knocked down, really forced to retreat. And the Bola shot, though, looking to find out that Lucio is able to escape unscathed. Kitsune Rush drops through the middle of the point by Akasha. You want a hero find their own picks. Invu trades it back onto Change, and now is looking for more.
All right, now Invu with a great stick, number 1 as kind of a rebuttal, but it's now been 3-4 times that St. Clair have been denied, and the Academy squad not liking what they're seeing. Brenburn is annihilated. Minute 40 left. And SFU, eyes on the prize, really making sure that we get maybe a map 4.
Yep. Making sure really to prevent any momentum from St. Clair's side, really stopping this ball from getting anywhere where they need to be, and they're doing a really good job at shutting out the dive core, right, making sure Grubby does not get much value. Mines come out early though.
Good check. A little bit of a swing in. Brenburn straight to the front lines and realizes that, hey, maybe I don't want this battle. Extra shielding on the back end. Maybe they can find a little more, and it looks like the push is coming through here. Akasha, though, and Yuwon yet again collapse on in, and Invu and Brenburn get nothing. The push can continue, but it will stall in front as Hero and Change yet again deny, and there's a slot by Brenburn saying, we're in desperation mode.
Yep, 40 seconds left. You're entering last fight territory. You might get another one after this, but it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be with a lot of characters you're not comfortable with, and I don't think you should rely on it. Really, St. Clair rushing through onto the low gun, trying something brand new. They have the beat in the back pocket. Are they going to be able to use it well?
I mean, maybe they can, maybe they can't. A little bit of a dump, though. Problems abound here as you chase out St. Clair, wondering exactly where things go wrong. Tap 1, tap 2. Invu, though, nasty drop on the punch. Change. King Quan and Akasha are gone. They needed this fight so badly as they're headed to OT. And that's the wipe of the team that you wanted. Huge by Saints Academy.
Yeah, big fight win, and especially big fight win on a very tight budget. They went beat for beat. They came out on top very, very handedly. Hero gets a kill onto Redex, looking like they extended a little bit too far forward. Now they're continuing to push the payload for as long as they can before they're forced to retreat. Nice double kill from Hero.
Maybe they can get just a wee bit more as well. Keep an eyes out.
Yeah.
And wondering exactly who is going to find their mark. Snap again. A little bit of an overachievement there, but damage not. But this push is going to be so interesting, Spaffles.
It really is going to be, especially with 45 seconds left on the clock. They're in the do or die situation twice in a row now. St. Clair looking very comfortable, though, with the Kitsune Rush. It is a classic for a reason. Grubby gets the first pick onto Yuwon. Bola shot in return.
I don't know if it's going to be enough. A little bit of a twist. Shots ringing out. Redix is able to find Mark 1, and that's Hero down. Akasha trying to bring the gates, but it's not going to be enough. The Bullock barely does anything. Invu, though, dropped quite low. Brenburn does work, and King Quan is gone. They are pushing St. Clair, want to bring themselves to 2. Are they going to find it? They don't need a fully cap. As we know, they just need to reach 78 meters.
Yep, Yuwon with the flank pull. Hero gets the first pick onto Red X. Big blade pulled out onto the spawn. Freya has nowhere left to go. Lucio retreats back into the spawn for safety. Hero on top of the Kiriko. And there's not going to be any refuge. Downpour removes Ramatra from the points. And SFU lock this one out, bringing the series back up to just a 1-1.
I mean, it was looking like a great turn, but at the end of the day, if you get shoved off that point, it hurts. Well done, and change well deserved on this Freya. We mentioned Freya as this hero that can be such a frustrating DPS to deal with, having that CC in the bank. If you're really strong with that projectile hit, it brings pain around. So very, very nice job there. I am also heavily curious exactly when we are going to see that space out, when we are going to see a look like that come out from Saints Academy. We've seen all the players really step up, but Change and Yuwon specifically have had such explosive moments when it comes to leading the pack on maps.
Yeah, the ability to play on this map, really, and the adaptability that we saw from SFU, they really did not look like they were ever put in a difficult situation, right? Even when they were being held on that third point, they always looked very comfortable, very confident, and it just didn't really seem like the obstacles that St. Clair were putting up were serving as too much of a challenge, right? It's not to dismiss anything that St. Clair is doing. They had a really, really strong start as well. But once you start to hit those roadblocks as SFU are able to set up, once you reach those sort of untraditional parts of the map, like we saw in second point around that first corner, that's not typically a spot that you scrim into, right? It's not a part that you practice. It's not a part where you're very used to playing it. And, you know, SFU were infinitely more comfortable in that context. And even though they eventually did end up losing that point, they were able to buy themselves a lot of time. They burned over, I believe, like 4 minutes just defending over and over and over again on that point, right? And there weren't really that many standout performances compared to map 1. I mean, I do want to give Invu another shout out, and that Tracer is, I don't want to say unmatched, because it has been matched quite a few times, but there is like a lot of potential and a lot to be afraid of. There's However, SFU, they really seem to be very strong as a collective, as a unit, and moving together.
And SFU are a squad that I really don't want to roll into when I'm overconfident. I think that's the best way to put it. They, like, the number of hero moments that they've had is amazing, right? And I don't say that as a pun. Hero themselves being able to play very comfortably in their own. I mean, the Hazard looked amazing, right, at the end of the day. So I'm excited to see what we get when we go to this push map, when we get to see 10 minutes on the clock, everybody trying to get their value out. And it kind of goes back to what we saw on Control. It was a great back and forth, 2-1 positioning. These teams know each other inside and out. And when it comes to push, I'll be very interested, depending on what tank is banned away, if we get a tank ban or if we get another support ban to come out.
Yeah, and talking about bans, right? SFU not having to worry about another Ana ban in this series is a very, very big boon for them, especially if they do want to run back that Winston that was highly successful on Busan. They're able to do so with very little obstruction. Yes, there is potential for Winston to get banned out in a future map, but Winston is the one that's expendable here. You can realistically swap them out. You can keep the Hazard. You can go over to somebody else they haven't tried yet, like Diva, right? There is a lot of potential, and Hero has really just shown us how they're able to really leverage the similarity between these tanks.
Of course. Now, while we do have a little bit of wait while we figure out that first map, or map 3-4 push, I do want to let you know that, of course, for the Canadian Intercollegiate Exhibition, we are continuing on even more throughout the week. We have a lot of things going on across the next, I believe, about 5 days. Tomorrow on the 14th, it's going to be Inside the Gaming Lounge panel, as well as student leaders in esports. That'll be starting, I believe, at about 3:30 p.m. ET. Be very excited for that one. The matches, though, that will be played will be the League of Legends Top 8 and League of Legends semi-finals. Both of those will be played a little bit later on in the evening at about 6:30 p.m. ET. And then on the day after, it will be the League of Legends Grand Finals at the end for the games, but also panels for state of esports education and monetizing esports, revenue streams, partnerships, and sponsorships. Those are what you're looking at over the next 2 days, which are going to be very exciting. We also want to give a big shout out to those that are making the charity show match, which will be at the end over on May 19th. Be looking forward to that one, as we are going to see, I believe, casters, players, and the like joining in for a lot of fun things. Brought to you, of course, by Strawberry and Egg, Solaris, as well as Esport Canada, all of who are making it very possible to have this show match available.
And I love charity. Charity is always an amazing thing, and I'm also looking forward to tuning in for some more of those matches. I'm a bit of a League enthusiast myself. I'm going to be excited, and I'll be right with you guys over in the Twitch chat, sharing on our favorite teams.
Yep. Well, we do have our map. It is not going to be a swap once again. I guess the teams really like where they're currently at, but it is going to be Runasapi. So, no new junk city or anything like that. No one likes that aesthetic, quite honestly. Runasapi is the way to go.
Yeah, I love it. It's big, it's bright and blue, it's green, and looking at it from the gameplay side of things, it's another one of those, folding style of push maps that was really invented with new Queen Strain. It's brought forward and, in my opinion, honestly perfected. And I think really most of the player base has spoken for it as well, as Runasapi is quite a popular map. And the way that the push bot, it really folds in on itself, it creates a very short distance between the spawns and the bot. You're able to get those fights out way more rapidly, right? And as we've always said, is push is a map of twos. If you're the first one to win 2 team fights, if you're the first one to get to the midway checkpoint and activating your advanced spawn, you've got a very, very good outlook towards the rest of the map, right? In looking at the way that both of these teams have been playing, it really lends itself as well to a lot of playstyles. Although I will admit, you will typically see a lot more of your brawl or rush on Runasapi, as it does tend to be quite flat, especially towards the center starting areas.
Yeah, it does fall under the offense defense type of the mix, like control and obviously flashpoint. So it makes sense when you lean into that brawl style, when you lean into that we're going to go a little haphazardly. What also might tilt an angle over to the side of St. Clair, depending if they do wish for it to happen. Aesthetic Sock is actually coming in here. We talked about Grubby as that starter. Well, Aesthetic Sock is swapping in the DPS factor, and Grubby has had some really explosive moments. When we looked at the Genji earlier, when we looked at the swap to the Freya, really pivotal on making sure that we saw St. Clair able to take map 1 and even make map 2 very close, we will say. But swapping out a DPS at this point, I'm very curious to see what Sock has.
Yeah, Aesthetic Sock is a very strong flex DPS player, and I think seeing that swap out is really going to indicate that they're going to trend towards a double flex team, right? Especially with Invu being very solid on the Tracer. Aesthetic Sock has a mean Genji, and I'm really expecting to see that duo get brought out yet again. Right, and another thing I do also want to note is Aesthetic Sock actually founded the Calgary Overwatch team and has found their way over to St. Clair, so a very successful track record, and being the team captain slash coach slash I think manager, they've got a lot on their resume.
And when you have that type of history, when you have that type, as you called it, resume or pedigree, it's good to watch for. And I'm wondering what may have brought about the swap. I don't think Grubby did poorly, and I wonder if it is just a map-based option. We've seen a lot of teams actually do this before, right? When it comes to certain maps, when it comes to certain game types, other players excel. We've seen, I want to say, I think one of my favorites is seeing map specials come out here. Now in Overwatch 2, it's a little bit harder to do that, but in tac shooters such as like Valorant and CS2, we've seen teams pull that off. But when it comes to Overwatch 2, as you said, it usually does mean low flexibility in what the roster can run, what DPS they're able to bring about. We are still waiting on the bans as well. So, I mean, if you're looking at Sock, what would you not want to see, Spaffles? What type of hero would you not want to give them?
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned before, Sock has an absolutely mean Genji. He has a pretty good Tracer as well, but I think it'd be better suited to be on Invu, right? They have also been seen to play your other hit scan DPS if needed, right? They had a pretty good stint earlier in the semifinals as Cassidy. So looking forward to maybe bring that out again, especially if they do want to shut down Yuan.
I mean, you also talk about the fact that instead of Sock, we didn't give due rewards, as you said, started the Overwatch team at Calgary before coming to St. Clair. Also the team captain for the squad, so maybe the captain stepping in and saying, hey, look, we gotta go ahead and get things moving, and we want this victory. We don't want to go to Flashpoint. Maybe we're not as practiced. It would make sense that you step on in. So Grubby as a sub, very nicely done on their own. We'll go ahead and see exactly where they're going to be placed. I believe the teams are taking quite a long time with that, and I'm curious what they got wondering, right? Is it going to be that Freya that's actually banned away, which we've seen utilized very heavily? I wonder if both teams are actively actually wondering if they need to ban out the Freya.
Yeah, and I do think there's a lot of strategy in it as well, because now that SFU have really proved that it's not going to be a quick 3-0, they're not going to take this lying down, there does have to be a lot more strategy heading into this ban, right? Because if you decide to go straight for the jugular, if you ban somebody like Freya, then you're really shooting yourself in the foot when it comes to that map 4, when it comes to that map 5 situation, and you really need to depend on those strong bans to really give your team that edge over the enemy. Okay, so I think it really is just a bit of that, and also the way that the bans are situated this way around, you're not going to be able to ban somebody to lock them out from the other team. It's going to be a soft, fearless type of format where only one team can't ban that character twice. Right? Kiriko gets taken out by St. Clair, and yeah, I can see that.
I mean, it's utilized. I feel like this would have been a Kiriko or Juno ban between the two, and it's the Tracer. Ooh.
Okay.
So both teams have utilized that quite heavily, I believe, as you were mentioning. Yuan being an absolute menace with that hero and seeing the swaps back and forth. I mean, you called it, right, Spaffles? You said, hey, look, gotta shut them down somehow, and this is the best way to do it.
For sure, and, you know, looking at the situation now that St. Clair are in, right? They're playing the double flex DPS. They were really putting a lot of their eggs in this basket of, okay, we're going to play the Genji Tracer. That's the strongest form of double flex. And now that they're not able to do it anymore and they're sort of locked in, I believe, to their substitution, it's a pretty big wrench to be thrown into their plans. And I think that SFU, that's a risk they're willing to take in this situation.
I would agree as well. I mean, when you bring your captain in at any point, this is very important. And, you know, I would almost say, I think for the Saints Academy roster, it's the moment that you wish to have kind of that bump up in pacing, right? I would expect them to be a little bit more clean with a lot of their fights. We took a look back in that previous map and it seemed like it was a little bit of a struggle. Right, it was a little bit of a struggle getting some of those fights underway for the Saints. They were, you know, maybe not as clean with some of their engagements as we wish to see. I mean, their understanding and their pick potential was huge, but this time around, I bet I would hope to see with aesthetic sock in there, you could maybe see just like a front door punch. You could go ahead and just kind of walk your way through with that DPS value. Maybe it also gives them a renewed sense of confidence moving into this matchup. It's not like they have never played against SFU before. I'm sure the Saints are just like, yeah, this is another day in the life for us, right? So with the captain, I'm very interested to see where they decide to move to.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, I'm really expecting to see that amp up in momentum and also that extra guidance that playing with your captain will provide, right? And the ability to really pivot on the spot, not just in terms of your team composition, like we're all known about when it comes to counter picking. It's about how you pick your targets and how the team is able to rally together. We saw St. Clair, they're able to do it, but they do tend to, focus on things a little bit too late at times, right? Like we saw with U1's Tracer just ripping up a new one, and then after that, the next map after, then they were starting to give them a lot more attention. So looking to see if that added amount of speed is going to allow them to really thrive on push, because push is just one long crawl. There's not going to be a break. There's not going to be an opportunity to reset yourselves. You're in it for the long haul.
I would agree with that one. It's if you give a little bit too much, all of a sudden it's like a 25-30 meter push and you're just in trouble at that point, right? You're like, dang, we let off the gas a little bit too much, and it's a problem. But do we expect to see any sort of silliness come out here? As we mentioned, the Tracer and Kiriko is gone. We see the Sojourn somewhat utilized. Do we expect to see any crazy stuff? Are we wanting to see any exceptionally out there hero pickups in my opinion? Because like personally, I'd love to see a Junkrat come out to play.
Yep. I mean, Junkrat is a fever dream. It's something that, you know,
Don't
might
call
be
my
a
boy
little
a fever dream. He
come
has
on,
damage.
No.
He has some, I think.
I mean, okay. To be fair to all the Junkrat enthusiasts, he does have his places, but you know, you typically see that on some of your tighter maps, like looking at you, Lijiang Tower Control Center, where you're forcing your team through these tight chokeholds. You would play the Junkrat, you would do a lot of raw damage. When it comes to those one-on-one confrontations, he can, tend to fall apart quite easily, right? If I had to pick a character that I would really want to see in this matchup, I think it would be the Pharah. I think that it introduces a new element of range, right? Having that air character just pelting you from above really introduces a lot of new challenges, and especially if you're not playing a hit scan character, if you're going to play these dive heavy teams, that's something that can really be a thorn in their side.
Now, and also taking a look forward, while we have this time, we've been told that they're in the works. I'm curious what the hybrid map is going to be as well. I mean, Kings Row is always the optimal, but considering what we saw in Dorado, is there a map type that you are maybe looking forward to, considering we are going to get map 4 anyway, right?
Yeah,
maybe just like a small glimpse in the future.
It really, again, depends on who wins this map, right? Because you really have your comforts that are very, very visibly shown. And if, for example, St. Clair wins this match, then I can really see SFU heading towards a very die-favored hybrid map, say Namani, for example. Meanwhile, St. Clair, Kings Row all the way 100%. right? It's a classic for a reason, and when you're picking these low mobility characters, when you're playing the Ramatra, when you've been shown to be very adept at others, like Zarya, right, that they played in the semifinals, there is a lot of potential on those more flat maps, and a lot more footholds and a lot more forgiveness for the team if they are tending to struggle, right, with the winding paths and the ability and really the separation between first point, second point, third point that comes with Kings. There's a lot of emergency space for your team to fall back on. There's second, third, fourth, even fifth chokeholds to go to.
Yeah, it's a test and a half, and we'll get there when we get there, but I am always curious to get thoughts and see if we are going to see something outside of Kings Row, right? So I love the fact that you brought those up. At the same time, though, a little bit of another thought here. We just got a few stats, which is appreciated by Raven, who has been keeping track of a lot of our stats. Also, a really big shout out to them, making sure a lot of these matches keep on moving for this entire week plus weekend. We got word that, you know how we were talking about the Freya bans all the way through, these two teams obviously playing the Freya a lot. Freya so far in this tournament, and even some of the matches that maybe we didn't always see, Freya's been banned 9 times. 9 times, which is 3 times higher than either Diva or Ana, which are at 6. And then we've had four bans total for the Tracer, Genji, Widow, and Wrecking Ball.
And I mean, out of 16 matches total, or 31 rounds, that's a pretty high statistic for Freya to be banned out of 9, right? And yeah, I can definitely see how Freya, if you're an unprepared team, if you're not able to play it, and the enemy team is, right, being a newer character and being a force to be reckoned with, if the Freya will absolutely eat your team alive, right? And one of the things that I personally find a little frustrating about the character is there is, little to no indicator when you are stuck by those right clicks, and it's a lot of burst damage come through. It's like almost like a mini pulse on itself.
Yeah, well, right now we are getting word that it is taking a little bit longer. We want to make sure that everything is very, very clean for the players. So we are going to go ahead, go to a very, very short break. When we come back, we are going to get on to an Asapi for a push and see which team will move up to 2-1 here in the grand finals. Don't go anywhere. The CIE will be right back. All right, the hamsters are running. We're good. Wrecking ball added back. We're set. Everything should be there. So diving back in, we got Rune and Sapi coming in here. Bans out of the... Nope, I lost it. My brain completely lost it. Kiriko and Tracer. That was it. We were talking about the level of talent with the Tracers. You1 obviously being good. So we're going to head to Rune and Sapi and we'll see how they decide to play. SFU at 1. St. Clair Saints Academy at 2. Nope, 1 and 1. I lied again. The break was a little bit too long for my brain, right?
Yep. And now that we're coming back into it, right? Really, you're getting comfortable again. We have that sub, right? Aesthetic Sock is subbing in for Grubby, right? And bringing with them the double flex DPS expertise. Right? Now that Tracer is taken off the board, I wonder what sort of form that's going to take in, or if they're going to sort of abandon the idea and revert to something a little more traditional. What are your thoughts?
I could see a mix of both. I think for either side, traditional or modern, or maybe a little bit out there, it doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. I say that with all of my heart, but it does feel like for either side, for SFU and St. Clair, it is going to come down to just that last kind of final fight. It isn't going to be so much, you know, what compositions do you directly around, because at this point we're seeing almost the exact same. Invu on the Cassidy, change on that Freya once again, with double Orissas in tow, and with the Brigida plus the Juno, like these are mirrored as mirrored get.
Yeah, just making sure that these teams are as even as can be. We see the Freya from Change, as you pointed out. It's going to be a really a strong pickup for them. Aesthetic Sock diving in deep. Invu gets the first blood onto Change.
And that's a really big one again for Invu. Having that snipe out, make sure Change isn't going to be available, puts you on into a very difficult position. For first snap, King Quan getting taken a little bit low, but St. Clair haven't really lost anyone. And St. Clair stepping up here with Aesthetic, running that in front. Seems like first pinch and first fight goes St. Clair Academy's way.
Well, they really came out swinging. They knew exactly where to punch them where it hurt, and Aesthetic Sock was able to get away with a pretty aggressive dive into the middle of the team scot-free. Right, now that they're rounding the next corner, this is it's really early into the match, but this almost feels like it's do or die already.
I mean, we've seen both teams actually have very long runs, as out comes that huge shot straight into Hero plus an extra snipe. Is this the power of a captain, Spaffles? Is this what we get to see when the captain himself steps in?
Aye, aye, Captain. But you know, seeing how Invu was able to do spins around that Orisa and then got the high noon off anyways, it was pretty impressive. Right, really early rally gets popped by Red X2. They're keeping this momentum going. King Quan gets the first blood into Aesthetic Sock. How about shutting down momentum? U1 gets taken out by a big bash to the head. Terror Surge pulls everyone together for a group hug. Nobody is going to feel that warmth. The Orbital Ray gets popped off by Akasha, and Hero's going to be able to take advantage of it to push down further. Brenburn gets a return pick onto King Quan. Red X taken down by Akasha. And now Love Note follows suit. SFU have taken down both supports from the enemy team, and Hero is here to close out the deal.
I mean, that was comfortability, but Aesthetic Sock, she has been an obvious focal point for St. Clair. You have to admit, as soon as Aesthetic Sock falls, it felt like St. Clair's comp kind of fell away. And granted, it felt like time, right? For SFU, it felt like time for them to win the team fight of their own. But Aesthetic Sock saying, let's go. Out goes the Genji, and Aesthetic Sock says, let's go ahead and take first. She swipes away Change, and Love Note with that orbital ray brings her right back. Only 4.3 meters, a tentative push is all we saw. St. Clair really comfortable in their own. Out comes the Terror Surge on their own, and Invu takes advantage. Snapshot right into U1. Hero goes down, and the Saints Academy rocket yet again. We're at 78 already.
Yeah, 80 meters, 6-7 minutes remaining. This is disastrous, right? And St. Clair, yes, they did expend some ults to do it, but so did SFU in an attempt to defend, right? And now Invu with the high noon kills Change in their own spawn. They made Terror Surge Blade to try and even the score.
Invu Invu is popping off here, but King Quan and Hero take them down. Invu was on a 5-player kill streak, but she unfortunately couldn't do much more there. Akasha doing the same to Aesthetic Sock, and now it's St. Clair Saints Academy to falter, but 104 on the meter push. Nasty run as SFU need what, 3-4 good team fights.
It's gonna be a lot. Even walking back the bots just to get back to neutral, it's taken them the entire time they've won by team wiping St. Clair. Now they're looking to get an early fight in, rally popped by King Quan. We're gonna see how this turns out.
At the same time, we're seeing that rally come out here. Blade is available, but Hero shuts down Redix very, very quickly. Aesthetic is going to fall just as well. So King Quan and Hero, really nice management of the resources, actually denying and overtaking into Love Note. She's able to find one, but still falls on the own as King Quan with the Brigade denies so much more. It's going to be SFU to win a strong team fight to start their push as they climb to 30 meters.
Yeah, very well done. Winning the fight even at a deficit, really. That's just kind of how Blade feels these days, is when you're not playing it with an amplification, when you're not playing it with a nano boost or some sort of damage amp, it feels really sad and it's really difficult to secure any kills, especially into a Brig of their own. U1 got dropped down to very, very low HP, and it's a full-blown retreat, really, from SFU.
I mean, I think it's just a re-rally because they're waiting for Akasha's orbital ray, and here it comes. Love Note has one of their own, but instant damage is going to be done, and it's a nice timing. They both drop it, but Brenburn goes down so quickly. Change fell off the map, though. I have no idea what happened, and Invu is going to use that timing. Brenburn still down, but can damage be done? Change and Akasha lose their life, and Aesthetic Sock rolls on out the damage. Invu stunned, Aesthetic Sock gone. So it's still SFU Raccoons to find the battle.
It's still so bloody, but SFU, they keep on marching forwards, activating that forward checkpoint for themselves. This is the exact position that they wanted to be in. And yes, they did take 2 minutes to get here, but that's really good in terms of push time. Right now, SFU, they're looking to take this next fight with the Blade in hand. They are going to find themselves with some Stark resistance, especially if Invu is able to stare them down. The High Noon gets pulled forward by the Juno speed boost, but is not able to get around the corner. And we see a Hero hiding around the corner.
I like that, but it's been Blade v Blade, and this time U1 wins because of the ult. Akasha helps out as SFU utilized Hero in a corner, took eyes away, and U1 was allowed to finish up that team kill.
Yep, very, very strong. Yuan just popping off, getting a triple there out of nowhere, it feels like. The Blade really proving its worth. And now as we march on forward, we're getting 90 meters. We're so close to equalizing. This is the position that SFU need to be in. Though Invu gets the blood.
I mean, Invu, that's a huge challenge, though, as SFU kind of lose out. They're losing the rally behind, and this is the turn. St. Clair had that Terror Surge and used it to perfect execution, which now means St. Clair get to push the bot back. Revenge is a dish best served cold, and SFU had to reset.
Yep, no more fooling around with the old man. Cassidy out of the picture. Freya is my new best friend. Invu rolling out, making sure to show change who's boss. Right now, as the payload has been almost nearly neutralized, Invu gets a pick out of nowhere onto Yuan.
I love this battle, by the way. St. Clair ruled the early 4 minutes, and now they're looking to rule the last 3. SFU have battled so hard, they are quite literally only about 6 meters behind. They need about 2 good team fights, push the bot, and then push it even further. Let it run a little bit across the way, but there it goes. Redix with the rally, Aesthetic Sock with the blade. Invu falls so quickly, but Aesthetic Sock is able to slice and no one can challenge as the team captain herself will dish out the damage. King Quan bringing the shield, but the shield can only do so much as they run right away. U1 finding one in the back end, but this is clean from St. Clair.
Now, you may have a lot of flying characters, but everybody is still within Aesthetic Sock's reach. Her blade was magnificent, making sure to position herself just in range of all members, right? Although they were able to win that team fight, SFU, they're able now to regain control of the payload as St. Clair looks to set themselves up on a very advantageous high ground. All eyes on Aesthetic Sock as she coming around from the flank, gets spotted, and Invu now as well with the bullet shot.
Well, I think the big thing is Invu. Yeah, as you mentioned, was the one to watch here. Aesthetic brings a lot of the DPS, but there it is. Great snipe. Invu gets one. Redix does another, and Brennan finds a third. Clean 3S changing hero can't do anything. At this point, St. Clair just need to get that bot rolling. Really, really nicely done yet again with 1:20 left on the clock.
Yep, St. Clair, they're going straight for the throat. They're pushing it in deeper into the spawn with the minute remaining, like you said. There is not a lot that SFU can be able to do in retaliation. Yes, they have Global Ray. Yes, they have the Dragon Blade. But Renburn is leading the charge in with the Terra Surge.
I think with that Terra Surge, we can bring a lot of pain. Orbital Ray trying to turn it around, though, and it looks like it has worked. You won. No ult, all blade, all shurikens. St. Clair, you lose out yet again, and we mentioned it needs about 2 team fights. So St. Clair is saying, okay, we lost one, but we got 40 seconds. Can we hold out long enough?
You know, and one of those quirks with push is if you're able to get to overtime before you push it over, you can pretty much end the game instantly. Although I'm sure that's not a situation that SFU really want to find themselves in. It might be their last hope, right? Making sure to fight this back. Change is retreating, and this high ground is such a difficult position to fight against. U1 pulls the blade.
Well, that's going to be a blade and a half, though, and no rebuttal. U1 says we're winning Orisa versus Orisa, and U1 makes it known that SFU want to push to 2. They need one more good fight. That's an expenditure, but they have 3 left in the bank.
Yeah, the ult economy is 100% in SFU's favor. Both of these teams, they have a rally available. Both of these teams have a bola shot, but only one of them has a Terra Surge. Aesthetic Sock is going to be trying to build up her blade as fast as possible. But as the payload is running around this last corner, I don't know if she's going to have enough time for it.
I mean, if you can bait it out for a little bit longer, maybe you can, but Radix goes ahead with that rally, trying to bring moment change. What a shot, the bolo landed. Love Note is down. SFU are going to try and battle back with HP bars. U1 was ready. U1 brings one pain, and they keep everyone topped up. King Quan and Akasha are making the hold of a lifetime hero, doing the exact same. You are just outside this push meter. Redix now down. Brenburn and Invu trying to stay alive, but Love Note can only do so much. U1 about to make the 0 to hero play. From myth to legend it is, as SFU win OT push to end game 3.
It is just not enough. St. Clair, they brought the heat, they brought it fast, they brought it hard, they pushed as far as they could, but at the end of the day, if you need someone to call, U1 is your man. Brings it in, really pulls it all together in the end, and SFU, they're able to take the lead 2-1.
And the one that we watch stand at the front gates, hero yet again. Comfortable stuff, but SFU wiping the sweat from their brow. But I have to give credit, that was a very close battle. This is what we love to see here in the CIE Spaffles. We knew Aesthetic Sock walking into this. We talked about the changes that can come around with the substitution, and when you bring your captain in, it was very much working together. A lot of those team fights looked extremely coordinated. But we mentioned the hero plays coming out of SFU, and we saw U1 do it yet again.
Yeah, talking about hero plays earlier, right? Dorado, that's not a hero play, but these definitely were. We saw that every fight that SFU took, even when they were down and they were really punching above their weight and being able to overcome a really demanding initial push, right? When St. Clair are able to capture that first 100 meters in less than 2 minutes, it can really feel like you have an impossible hill in front of you, but SFU, they scaled it one step at a time. Team fight by team fight, they clawed their way back into this match, and that OT victory where they were able to push the payload right over the end and instantly finish the game. No more overtime, no more contests. I think that's a perfect characterization for how this series has been going so far.
And I'll be very curious to see where we go for Hybrid. Hybrid is another one that we saw on Escort go a little bit wonky. Again, it was a 2-1 position. That was the one that I believe SFU also won back there. So this time around, I'll be sitting there going, hey, how exactly is this going to play out? Are we going to see a little bit of a player swap? I don't think for SFU they have any subs in banks, so No, they have Zephyr. Zephyr is the one that I was thinking of. Yeah, they have one sub in the back if they wish, but you know, do you need to bring them out here? That's a big old question. At the end of the day, I think it'll be primarily map type, and I know we talked about Kings Row and all, but after this, do we still think it is going to be removed from, or do we think Kings Row is a smart way to go?
I mean, I'd have to review the map pool with you to be honest, but I still do think Kings Row is quite a heavy contender. It just really fits with everything that they want to play. Looking at the other options that are available, right? You have Kings Row, you have Midtown, right? There's not too much that you would want to play. Hollywood is way too dive heavy. Even if you manage to get to the third point, you're better off just continuing your dive push. And if you're looking at Midtown, right, there is a really strong case to be made for that brawl, for that rush on first and third point. But especially on second, it starts to fall apart when you have that overhang, and you really struggle to maneuver overall as a brawl team on that map.
You know, a lot of eyes around, so we'll go ahead and take a little bit of a moment. That last map went down to the absolute wire, so we are going to go to a very short break. When we come back, hopefully we have our hybrid map, we have the players and the bans, and we'll see ya on the other side. Game number 4 is here to start as SFU Raccoons are one step away from the CIE Overwatch 2 championships. And I'm excited to see what they throw down. Spaffles, we are right back in the mix. We got Kings Row as expected. And surprisingly enough, our first hybrid of the tournament. All the other matches have, of course, been first threes, but all gone 3-0.
Wow, what a fun stat. I mean, I didn't really think we'd be living in a hybridless world, but and when you have Escort so far up in the pick order, I guess it kind of makes sense when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a treat, but taking a look here, we are going to go ahead and have SFU on the attack first, see how they decide to play things out. And for Grubby is coming back in for Aesthetic Sock. Aesthetic Sock is out, so we'll see if that changes things up. This time around, though, St. Clair do ban the Freya. This has been something that has been utilized quite heavily throughout the entirety. And then the Ramatra on the tank. No utility bans.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. Ramatra is very clearly a shot directly at Brenburn, right? Yes, they've played a lot of different characters so far, but their range has... their brawl has only been consistent of Ram so far. Yes, there was a short stint as Orisa, but it's not quite the same, especially in the way that of the things that they enable. Yes, Orisa can technically get a shield eventually through the perk system, but it's Ramatra's ability and utility to really push forward is unmatched, right? And taking out the Freya, I think it's really a form of conceding, right? They're trying to go, okay, well, Freya, we know we've practiced with it a lot, we know we're good at it, but we're not quite as good as SFU. We're going to take this off the board, we're going to get rid of it for now, and we're going to table some of our other stronger compositions that we've been working on all year.
I wonder if they're going to be able to make it work again for SFU. All they need is one more good push, but for them specifically, this is going to harm, I think, a lot of their compositional value. The Freya is going to be a little bit swapped out, and so, you know, we'll see what they decide. At the end of the day, though, U1 specifically has a lot in the bank to play for. I believe they also have a Snowjourn. They are the ones that ran the Genji. They're the ones that were running Tracer. Like, there is a lot to hang on to here, and especially on attack first, you get to kind of set the pacing into the game.
Yep, getting ready, booted into Kings Row. If you remember earlier into the series, these are the same assignments as well. SFU taking that first attack, this is their chance to do as much damage as possible. In St. Clair, they're putting up their defenses, and they're going to try and shut it down as best they can. Like we mentioned prior to our intermission earlier, right, Kings Row is a very forgiving map. If you're on the defending side, there are a lot of potential chokeholds, or a lot of opportunities to stall the attacking team, and I'm sure that St. Clair are going to make use of it.
We go ahead and see. Yeah, this is going to be the swap, but change on a different. Being forced to live up to their namesake here. They go ahead and go to a Mei. Of all things, a Mei, which to me is just a very different twist. We've seen Meis do okay, but you know, it's never the optimal, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't think Mei is necessarily going to be the pick when you're looking at an Orisa, right? It's not going to be something that you really stick with, and it looks like SFU already made that call themselves. They're going to be rolling out on the Sojourn, but more of a throwback to our pre-Freya days when Sojourn was, you know, mostly visible in pretty much every match you see. Right? I'm very happy she's more rare these days.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are, as right now the front door is broken through. SFU say no reroutes, nothing of the sort. Screw the alleyways, we take the front door down. St. Clair Saints Academy, though, holding strong here. No one falling just yet, so early DPS being handed in. Charges on the old 7 mixed hero. Swinging on the side, but it's an Orisa v Orisa yet again. Invu This time around, nice little chase out, good swap, but change. Of course, also mixing into that Sojourn instead. So they are in a comfortable position. A little bit of a capture here, though, as U1 finally finds Invu's full life. That'll be the one to mark for good capture to the start.
Yep, really strong start capturing, and just a little bit less than 3 minutes remaining is always a great position to be in. And now with St. Clair getting sent so far back, all the way to their old spawn, they are going to be fighting an upward battle, just getting back on here. They are going to clear a very important checkpoint, getting around this bridge and really preventing St. Clair from digging in around the corner. Right, we see Brenburn really trying to take the library hold, as if they're able to push past that bookstore, they will. Kitsune Rush comes out.
I think that might be a good push. U1 yet again, deflect and a half. Back into Grubby and Invu's face. You know that hurts to see, and with double DPS down, it's a quick team kill, just like on Escort. SFU blaze through the opening start.
And Orbital, I don't remember the last time I've seen that. A double kill with the deflect is pretty crazy. Looks like just too much firepower going down there. Kitsune Rush got everybody a little trigger happy, and then Genji's just able to deflect and, you know, enjoy all the free damage in the world.
And it works so well because this early stages, you need a lot of that time to kind of break ever further through. For SFU, they're looking to close out clean. U1 because of that reflect earlier, now able to slice through. Yet again, U1 wins it all triple with no rebuttal from St. Clair.
Absolute masterclass. The Genji pulls the blade up in the sky, and Hero going for the play, pulls everyone in with the Terra Surge, and there was little they could do. They had the Suzu, but nobody was able to disperse. They didn't have the movement speed available to them, and they got caught collectively. 5 minutes left onto the third points. SFU looking pretty strong, but we've seen this plenty of times before.
I think it's only going to continue. Here comes that B drop plus Terra Surge. Brenburn making space. This time it's changed. That doesn't have that extra moment. Great punch out, but SFU were able to kind of bounce back. They were able to nullify a lot of the extra damage. Remember, they already covered on that first checkpoint. Brenburn this time burns through Hero's life, though, and U1 taking quite low. The chase back to a little bit of safety. St. Clair able to force a slow pace still, although 4 minutes, 40 seconds to try and hold out.
Yep, now SFU, they're looking strong. They have the Orbital Ray. They have the overclock available to them. It's just how they're going to expend these ults and how they're going to layer them together. This ends now. Change pops their overclock first, and it's going to be retaliated in turn.
They're going to hang on for what they can. Quick close snap. Akasha, though. Akasha saying thank you for the orbital ray. It's an easy one with the overclock behind. U1 jumping into play, and Invu dropped off the side of the map. Never ending change yet again. Yet another team kill.
All right, SFU looking strong as always. They did expend a lot of ultimates there, burning both of their support as well as their DPS. Really provides an opportunity for St. Clair to get back into this match. Kitsune Rush is one to keep an eye out for, especially in combination with Invu's Blade.
Let's see if they can play it out. In goes the Terra Surge yet again. Hero juggling those ults so cleanly. Redix is able to find one, but I don't think it's going to be enough. St. Clair, though, saying it should be. We want to fight back. We stalled out before. And that was step number one in the grand plan. U1, though, make sure to dance just outside of range and being very, very careful for their own. Brenburn trying to do their best. What a shove. Akasha watching U1 go crazy here into the back line. B-Drop it, literally nothing as the club is closed. Brenburn tried their best with the Terra Surge, but it ain't stopping. This is that GG moment, a last half-hearted chase. But SFU with 3 minutes left take round one.
They tried to hold back St. Clair. They made the swaps. They went over to the Widow last second. But ultimately, SFU, this death ball of a team, they're just able to continue hurling forwards towards their spawn. 2 minutes and 59 seconds left for the overtime. This is a demanding position for SFU to be in.
And here's the problem. I don't see it stopping. For St. Clair, one of the big things that they had trouble with is finding the first escort checkpoint. They were slowed, I think, right before the doors, and then they were slowed pretty much every checkpoint afterwards in a singular lock. Remember how quickly SFU were able to get on the point? They were able to body block. I mean, it was only 1 kill, I think, that came through. St. Clair for their own, they need to find that same level of pacing. They need to find that the same kind of breakthrough potential.
For sure. And I think St. Clair, they're really going to try and mix it up here on this attack. We've seen them stick very consistently to the same strategy. But right now, when it comes to this push, everything goes. And seeing Brenburn swap over to the Zarya, we've seen it once before in this tournament. We saw them run it on Circuit Royale on stream. There it wasn't so successful, and I'm wondering to see if they're able to make it work this time, right? The grab is a very powerful ultimate, it is a strong grouping tool. You even see Invu popping out of the spawn with the Widowmaker, just trying to find any, risky shots.
I mean, this is also very used to. I think every team tries to use that Widowmaker, see what extra damage you can get down, and then immediately swap out. It's a Reaper for Invu. She's going to try and bring some of the pain, but Grubby's already taken quite low, barely staying alive, gets back to the heal. But Brenburn, with a little bit of a Zarya, this is a different chance, and maybe they're looking for that pacing, but Grubby taking a little bit low. Hero for their own, staying alive for a little bit longer. But good point control by St. Clair. Now they just need to fully capture. Contested back, though. SFU is staying alive, and Hero finds Redix. Really nice punch to start. Invu, though, finds a twist of their own, but changed with a great clock to the back of the head. Invu was only able to find 1 and 1. And that means that it's about 2/3 done. But St. Clair, they've done their work. And SFU unable to rebut. Brenburn burns down Yuan.
Yeah, running the Reaper, running the Zarya, Genji is a pretty unhappy camper. The King Kwan going out with a punch, taking down Grubby, right? And now that SFU, they took that defeat, right? St. Clair were able to cap with the 3 minutes exactly the same way that SFU were able to. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to try and come back from this. SFU, they had a faster opportunity to reset their... making their way back to the bookstore corner as we speak. They're very, very close.
I don't think it's going to stop being close here, but Yuan swapping over to the Tracer, one that was unbanned previously, or unbanned before this game, if that makes sense. So maybe that twist, though, as Hero chases forward, gets a great Terror Surge on everyone, and Hero says, let's go. Brenburn tries to turn it around with a well of their own, but it's only in rebuttal. Grubby is able to find some fights back, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. But Hero, immaculate play yet again.
And I was just seeing red there. The Terra Surge pulling in 5, getting an immediate pick onto the Juno, who dies on sight. And then the Graviton Surge, Grubby was able to pick 2 right out of its clutches, but Hero just continued soldiering on.
Nasty work, and it continues. It will continue all the way again, because Akasha brought the Orbital Ray, and answering Orbital Ray, though, plus Rally, though. So Redix and Love Note tried to do the same, but Redix is able to fall once again. King Kwan says, I do it better, and there's no one that is able to stop them. A great hold yet again. St. Clair Saints. Invu tried the Death Blossom. It doesn't work. What a hold. SFU make me repeat words yet again, as they are repeating this devastation.
And they were able to really turn this attack all on its head. Right, St. Clair, they're coming in fast, coming in strong, but SFU are doing it stronger and with less ults. Right now, SFU, they have the Terror Surge in the back pocket again. Hero looking to make another juicy play with it, as well as an overclock, just for insurance purposes. There's really a lot left for them to use.
Oh my gosh. Ridiculous work here, and SFU are bottled yet again. Yuan finds the pulse. Invu not given a chance, and every time it's a pick. 1, 2, and 3. Never will St. Clair get a chance at a free full fight. SFU are going to stagger death as often as possible. This push all the way back to gate makes it so difficult for St. Clair to do anything.
Yep. Brenburn trying to find a foothold where they can. Overclock gets popped out for Grubby. Matched in turn by changes. Who's going to be able to dish out more damage? The answer is Grub. Shuts down the SFU DPS. U1 gets taken down low HP. Love Notes is the one to secure the kill. And now they're charging on forwards. Eyes fully locked in on the second point. They need this, and they need it now. Graviton Surge as well in the bank. Brenburn is looking for that hero play.
Let's see if they can do so. And honestly, for St. Clair, I'm curious, how far are you going to get? Another grab comes in here. Brenburn able to grab everyone, and it looks like it's done the damage. Akasha was able to lay down the orbital ray just in time, but isn't enough to keep everyone safe. Change says yes. But the Saints say no. Snipe 1, 2, and 3. Grubby, Brenburn, and Invu. Breakthrough checkpoint 1.
All right, y'all had me a little bit worried there, St. Clair, but we got it. We got there in the end. Now, there are a lot of powerful ultimates at their disposal. They have the Rally, they have the Orbital Ray, as well as the Blade. All right, so St. Clair can really make a powerful dent in SFU's defenses. However, Hero's got another infamous Terror Surge ready and raring to go.
Right now, we have to sit there and go for SFU. You want to hold it down. Another 3 fights if they can. U1, great stick. They've done it twice before. And now with that Terror Surge, it forces everyone back. But Redex with their consistent rally. And then the immediate follow-up of that Orbital Ray. It looks like it's bolstered Invu enough to bring extra damage. Spaffles, we are watching St. Clair. A slow to start, but heavy ending here. SFU look like they have nothing else in the bank to deny Invu with the Blade. And it's just a push for push's sake. You want an Akasha get at least a modicum of kills at the end, but they do not stop this push. St. Clair trying to do their best, and maybe they will close things out with at least 2 minutes left. SFU though, they're burning time, which is a lot better than I could assume. You can see here Hero forcing out Redex. Looks like it's actually done. We are very close to the end, and maybe I called it too soon, but St. Clair come right back out. Hero doing what they can as that primary DPS almost, but you have to stop it. In they go on the bounce. It is 2.86 meters. They burned off 30 seconds. Hero's holding out here.
You know what they say in this world, push or be pushed, and SFU are pushing St. Clair all the way back to their spawn. A minute and 20 seconds remaining. They need to cap this with any time remaining if they want any hope of claiming Kings Row as their own. St. Clair, they picked this map. This is their lifeblood. This is what they need. They absolutely need this to keep themselves in this series, and Brenburn might have the answer to all of their troubles. They have the Graviton Surge. They have the Rally. Are they going to be able to use them well? A Terror Surge from Hero goes in deep.
I mean, that's going to be a twist, but they try and turn it around, but down goes Brenburn so easily. Grubby though says with the overclock, I can do so much better. Info does the same, and the SWAT, the DPS decimates SFU. St. Clair may have lost their tank, but SFU lose their lives. Invu with the Blade with 35 seconds left. They're still holding though. But there's the final push, 0.71. Are they going to hold? Down they go yet again, but they're swapping it out. The Diva Tech will keep you alive for just a bit longer. And at this point, it's all seconds. And no way, they swapped yet another. Finally, it is done. Minute given back. We're going to OT.
Right down to the wire. St. Clair, they fought it. They fought it heavy. They fought it dirt, and SFU, they almost had this stall. They brought out the Diva, they brought out the Reaper, they had all of the stops, but they weren't able to make the timer tick down to 0, and St. Clair, they get that Mercy 1 minute. Right, now they have less time remaining, so St. Clair are immediately thrust back into the spotlight. They are going to be forced into this attack, and this is where their troubles start. Right, they have 1 minute to do as much damage as possible. We've seen how fast some of these first point takes can be, but how are they going to keep that momentum going forward?
I'm honestly not sure. Spaffles, this is the only way, I think, for a grand finals to be played. At the end of the day, it's gotta be OT, right? It's gotta be OT. It's gotta be that chance at a play. And we'll see if it can happen here. Change over. There's a little bit of extra play. And Yuan still with that Tracer. See who runs it out as we're right back in the twist. St. Clair 1 minute. Let's see what you got. Out the door as they chase into a mid. And they're going to use the TP. They're going to try and get on point as fast as possible, which makes sense. Invu now swapping over to the Widowmaker. Maybe trying to get that little bit of a line. SFU willing to give a lot of ground as they're trying to snipe out Brenburn. Brenburn barely taking any damage here. And it's a quick third on the bank. Really nice push. But honestly, they need to go a little bit faster. They're going to try and stand up a little bit more. Hero doing their own. SFU going ahead and pushing it back. Already 30 seconds gone. Hero trying to take down one. That's a huge push into the corner. What a lock. The body block. Are they going to find more damage? In goes the team change, though. Eliminated as Redix and Grubby fight their way out. Akasha, though, able to grab Grubby's life. Looks like it's 2 for 1, but at the end of the day, it is St. Clair with their first minute down to at least fully capture the point.
And watching Brenburn and Redx in that corner call an ambulance, but not for me. They were able to turn, they were able to flip the script onto SFU, and they were able to cap the first point. 0 seconds remaining. It is a full overtime. Now SFU, they're coming back in their packing heat. The terror search is ready. It's raring to go. 90% of the way there. And all members of St. Clair need to be in the proximity of the points. Renburn leading in the charge. Terror surge gets popped. No kills yet. But Akasha leads the first.
And leads the second as well. Looking for a third, fourth, and fifth. You're in OT and it's buckled down. That's GG. But in a minute, that feels good. You're able to break through points, so you got a little bit of time to play for.
Yeah, that extra little bit of leniency to play around. That's all that St. Clair can ask for. Now, SFU, they have the world at their disposal. They have 4 minutes. They're able to cap this first point. They're able to get to just around the corner, right? This is as much, if not a little bit less, the amount of time that they would regularly get at the start of this match, right? They're looking very comfortable, and I really want to see what sort of strategy St. Clair are going to try and throw at this one to sort of catch them off balance. We saw it from SFU in that last round. We saw how Change pulled the Ash out of their back pocket, and it paid very, very handsomely. Now, St. Clair, there is a limited amount of what they can do, right? So SFU, they have the spawn so close by. Meanwhile, St. Clair, if they take a loss, if they get handed to them, right? This is going to be an almost impossible pushback for them, right? I say almost because that extra 30 meters, sorry, allows them the tiniest bit of leeway in this matchup.
Yeah, this is that test at the end of the day, but SFU doing their own change. Gonna be challenging out pretty heavily as they have 3.5 minutes, plenty of time to clock the point, plus a half push. No worries. Invu with that Mei, though, gonna be looking to stall tech as much as possible. But will it be enough? Invu getting forced out so quickly. And Yuan on this Genji yet again, gonna be raining down hell if given the opportunity. Quick shot rings out. No kill to start. The Hero body blocking in front. Yuan and King Quan, though, ripped through Invu and Redix. And there's no chance for St. Clair. First fight, SFU win.
Yeah, now they're gonna slowly take down Brenburn, and there is no chance that he's going to be able to get the forward spawn. St. Clair, they need to take this fight fast. They need to fight without their tank if it's possible. Right, Mei hiding around that corner, trying to play around her wall, trying to play for a pick. King Kwong says no. Redis gets taken out. Yuan as well, and the payload is now unlocked right as Brenburn walks back from the spawn.
Here's the deal, St. Clair gotta move. They have to run so quickly. Before, it was only one. They only had one chance. This, they need to hold 4-3. I have no idea if they're gonna make it around the bend. Are they gonna get there in time? And honestly, I don't see it. They need to burst on in. 0.48, no way. But honestly, it's a little bit too late because they took so long. It's only 1 or 2 left on point. You already lost Redix. And St. Clair, they're getting shoved off point. Change now brings the pain on the Brenburn. In goes the little shock and twist. Akasha barely healthy, but that's more than enough to pump the heals out yet again. And that is it. It is GG. SFU Raccoons take the CIE Overwatch 2 Grand Finals.
And what a beautiful, beautiful match to see between two that's tightly matched up opponents. But ultimately, at the end of the day, SFU, through these small advantages they're able to accrue, just able to inch their way forward. They were able to climb to the top off the backs of the hard work of their teammates. I mean, we looked at Hero, we looked at Change, we looked at Yuwon, and again, the unspoken heroes, supports in the backline. You had Akasha, you had King Kwan, both carrying their weight. It was beautiful to see the team work together in that fashion, and it was more so to see just the amount of carry potential on each of these players.
It makes me so happy because this was honestly the closest 3-1 series I think we could have hoped for. Honestly, it was a Control 2-1, Escort 2-1 as well. In Push, it went back and forth. We were literally OT. There's no better way to say this. So to St. Clair Saints Academy, you fought your hearts out just as well. And it was so much fun to watch. But Spaffles, we now get a chance of our own to dive into a little bit of the minds of the Raccoons themselves. We are going to get an interview with one of the members from SFU, pick their brain a little bit at how they're liking these matchups in the tournament, and see how they thought they did. Don't go anywhere. The CIE Day 2 will be here once again in just a bit. Welcome back, everyone. We are here with an interview with not one, but two of the winning crowd from the SFU squad. I'm very, very excited to go ahead because you and I talked about the Spaffles. We talked about the strength of the players, strength of the squads, and you know, we decided to bring in the two that rocked out the best. We got the tank and a DPS Yuan and Hero joining us here on the mic to answer some of our questions and to maybe give us a little bit what for. Spaffles, you ready? Oh, sorry, just Yuan. I do apologize. So we're going to go ahead and hop on. And Yuan, are you there? Welcome here to the desk. How you feeling after that victory?
I'm feeling pretty hyped, you know? Playing flex DPS in like team settings is just so fun. Like no matter what tournament, and everyone on SFU is my friend, so whole tournament experience is just super fun and exciting to play.
All right, lovely to hear. I'm glad you enjoyed it as much as we did over from the casting desk, and as much as the Twitch chat did watching from home. This next question is going to be a little targeted, right? But what's the deal with Ball? I'm seeing a lot of Ball in your guys' stat sheet, and I'm like, huh?
Ball, ooh, I feel like Ball, he's really viable. I know some people say that like some tanks are just like inting tanks, but like if you know what you're doing on Ball, you can really like get work done, and especially in an environment like this where the skill range in your team is like, it's like very drastic sometimes. It's really easy to get a lot of value on Ball, and I understand why Ball is being played a lot by some players.
Yeah, it's a real shame we didn't get to see you guys roll it out, at least not in this match. I don't know how the rest of your bracket went, but it was a delight to watch nonetheless.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, taking a look at the victory here on the day, you guys played pretty heavily. You had some of the most explosive moments of the matches, you know, playing the Genji and the like. I gotta ask, going into map number 3, we obviously saw a swap over to Aesthetic Sock, the captain for the side at St. Clair Saints Academy. Were you a little bit worried at all? Because that was the run-up you guys had just won on Escort. Pretty close match. What were you thinking moving the push?
Yeah, when they subbed in Aesthetic Sock, I did get a bit nervous because I know that she is a Genji Tracer player and she's really good at the two characters. And I also just swapped my sense on Genji and Tracer to like almost double. So I play on 3.5 on Tracer and 6 on Genji. So I was a bit worried playing on a high sense against like a good Genji player. But I just try to keep my cool and just listen to my tank.
You know, stay cool and listen to your tank. I think those are some words that a lot of aspiring Genji Tracer players out there would definitely like to listen to.
Yep.
Yeah, and then next up, right, is you guys had a pretty big bracket run to go through, and you know, it's especially coming after your NECC 2024 run where you guys went 0-12. You know, how does it feel to now be on the top, really take down the top dogs of St. Clair?
Ooh, it feels really nice to beat them. I know they don't. It's like they have like a combination team, but still, just like they're still a good team. Even when they're a combination team, they're really good. Like they know how to play the game, and we struggle a lot against them. But it feels really nice to beat them, and just like, you know, just win against them. You know.
Of course. Getting a victory under the belt is always the best feeling. Lastly, who do you think did better on your team, you or Hero? Because both, I mean, listen, we were talking about some of the big plays coming out here. We think you two had an amazing start. Or do you think it was anyone else on your team that deserves kind of the MVP status?
Oh, that's a hard one. Personally, I think Hero did better than me. He made a lot less mistakes than me. Even though I had like a few like shining moments, I barely noticed a single mistake from him throughout the entire 4 maps and through the rest of the bracket. Like for me, like I got one clipped by Invu a couple times. He's really good at Tracer. So there were a few mistakes from me, but compared to him, he made no mistakes through the whole thing. And I'd also I want to give a shout out to my main support, King Quan, because this guy does not play support at all. He's a ball one trick, and he plays flex DPS. And he let us put him on main support, and we still came out on top.
That's awesome to hear. And I mean, listen, it worked out in the end. You guys took home the victory here at CIE 2025 for the Overwatch 2 angle. Any final shout outs that you'd like to give? Maybe not just to your team or any opponents you ran into, maybe any new fans at home?
Definitely shout out to every team that we played. Shout out to our 2 managers, Nathan and Jaden. And who else shout out to? Shout out to Ninjak in the chat. I love that guy. He graduated from our old university. And when he makes fun of King Quan when we play, it makes it really funny. And I love him.
You know what? Fair enough. You won. Thank you very much for the interview. Congratulations on your victory. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much.
With that being said, we are done on the day. Before we go ahead and round this out, I want to give a big shout out over to BMO. BMO, number 1 is running a contest for CIA participants. You can go ahead and type !contest and complete the form to meet with a BMO representative and be entered to win one of 5 $20 digital Steam gift cards. BMO also, if you're interested, has bank accounts and borrowing options for university and college students. So enter today just as well. We can also talk there's a decent amount that you hear about them throughout the entirety of this week, so make sure to keep eyes on them as well as just enjoy all the action throughout the week for the CIE. Spaffles, how you feeling after that? Because that was an awesome match.
And I am, I feel like I'm out of breath. And I'm talking with you right now, throwing things back and forth, but seeing the way that series played out and the way that both of these teams, they really clashed head to head. Like Yuan mentioned, even though it was a combination team on St. Clair, they still did excellently well. They really thrashed their way through the rest of the brackets. When it came to the Clash of the Titans at the very end, I mean, both of those teams were so well equipped. It really, honestly, could have been either one that are standing at the winning side with us right now.
Of course, but at the end of the day, it is SFU. The Raccoons go ahead and take it home over the St. Clair Saints Academy roster, but it was a thrilling BO5 set, and I enjoyed it very, very much. Of course, there'll be more action tomorrow. Make sure to stay tuned. Starting at the top of the day at 3:30 ET, it will be the Inside the Gaming Lounge panel. As well, following suit will be student leaders in esports. If you're interested in becoming a leader, you can hear from those that have been in those positions. Later on, it will be a lot of League of Legends, a couple BO1s, and then of course the semifinals just as well, which will be a BO3. That'll be it though for us here on the desk. My name is Orbital. With me has Spaffles. Huge shout out to everyone that made tonight possible. I believe we had Dallard, we had Acrylic, as well as Raven running on the back end, and Caprixel also making sure that we're all set to go. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a good night.
Bye-bye.